Welcome to an all-new episode of Much Ado About Nothing. I'm your co-host, Jawan. Join with me, as always, is Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What up, bro?
A lot of news came out between last week and today. We'll start with something that I'm not giving any
Credence.
yes. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and it could just be that it's just the mindset that I'm in. I don't care. But I also just think it's completely bullshit because at this point, this one fucking individual will become the whole fucking Justice League cast by himself. But reportedly, Warner Brothers considering replacing Ezra Miller with Dylan O'Brien as the Flash. This is coming from Real Screen Geek. I can be honest with you. This could have come from Deadline, and I still wouldn't give any credence to it. It's way too early. We're talking about a movie that doesn't come out till next year, and a sequel that we are far away from. Like, we're not talking about Ezra's going to be in the movie coming out next year, and then in 3 more movies back to back to back. We're talking about he'll be in the movie next year, and then they could legit not do another Flash movie for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much time for him to get the help he needs, and for it to just be a non-issue anymore. Now, will social media ever accept him back? No, but it's the same social media that didn't accept him in the first place. So we're not here to cater to that. But what are your thoughts on this, Joel? Do you give this any credence? We don't have to tear down where it came from, but this even sound reputable to you? Like when you heard it, if Deadline said it, would you be like, yeah, that makes sense? Or would you be like, didn't we hear Nightwing? Like what's happening here?
If it was Deadline, yeah, I would definitely take it more seriously. But it was Screen Geek, and not that I have anything against them. They've been right on occasion. But like you said, like he's been reported, to be connected to Nightwing, and now apparently is a possible replacement as the Flash. Now, to be fair, it's that Warner Brothers looking at him as a possibility to replace Ezra Miller. That's the report. And everyone's just going there. He's going to replace him, and it's very different.
Right.
And like you said, like they're not gonna like reshoot the movie with whoever they replace if they eventually replace him anyway.
Right.
Because it's not gonna happen. It just costs way too much money. Maybe they add it at the end where they replace him literally at the end of the movie.
Right.
Like where everything else changes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you could do that for sure.
But that's really the only thing you might get. If anything.
That's never been done though. That to me, that'd
be very weird.
That robs everything. To me, if you're willing to do that, just don't do the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at that point, you're like, you marketed me Ezra. Like picture we're sitting there, we love Ezra's performance, and then it's just like, well, he'll never be back. Why did I just watch an Ezra movie then? Like put it off.
They're gonna have to do one of the two. That's the thing. Like, if we don't know, the whole thing is can he rebound from that? His reputation right now. It's not good. This has not been good.
No, not at all. But again, if someone had told you in 2007 Robert Downey Jr. would be your Iron Man, you would say no fucking way. No, Robert Downey Jr. No, hell no. What? No. He made he's made such a comeback. We talk about his past as a joke. Not like, oh my God, you remember all the No, we're just like, who is that Robert Downey Jr.? Not the Robert Downey Jr. I know. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just the idea of and that's why I said I just don't like the society we live in today. It's like, bro, okay, what he did was egregious. Sure, no one's arguing that. But we're not even going to give him an opportunity to try to get help between now and then the future of what this character can be. We're just already, he's garbage, deserves to die, let's move on. It's like, no, I'm not there yet. Like I said, if it happens again, then it's kind of just like, clearly you don't want the help. Yeah. Clearly, if you're Warner Brothers, you can't keep pushing it off. You have to make a stance, right? But to me, I kind of feel like if you're Warner Brothers, like if this was the music industry, we would not be hearing about this shit this long. A Publicist would have came out by now. the record label would have forced the individual into getting some help. So I'm just looking at Warner Brothers Discovery, and I'm just like, are we just gonna hope he walks into a therapist's office one day? Like, the responsibility has to also be on them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, to me, it's a lose-lose situation. You have people right now that will never accept him being Flash going forward, right? And then you have people that are in the stance of, I went through this with Ben. Different circumstances, I get it. But it's like, you can't do what they did for Ben, where it was up in the air, where it was like, he might come back. Nah, he wants to go. We might get rid of him. We do not want to do. That's a horrible way for this new regime to start. You have to take a stance. And you have to take a stance before he forces your hand, right? You have to come out and say something before he does something that makes you go, well, we have to recast him now. You got to get in front of this if you're Warner Brothers Discovery. But I'm just at a point now, Joel, to where, like I said, I think it's best you just come out during fandom and say, we want to let Wonder Woman finish her trilogy. We want to let Aquaman finish his trilogy. And then we just want to take a step back and reevaluate the whole landscape before we move forward with anything. Because at this point, if you just keep changing faces, you're running out of opportunities for your narrative to make that make sense, right? So it's like, all right, you switch the Flash up. Now, if something else happens, you don't have a flashpoint to do that again, right? And you can't force us into a crisis on Infinite Earths just so you can switch more people out. So at some point it becomes, if you're a new regime, you have to make changes. And those changes, I believe, come from let everything that's happening now finish itself out. And then you just find a way to either connect other things or you just start over. Because the continuation of just switching people in and out, at this point, it's getting like, bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. If they continue this, and again, I'm not putting any of this at their feet right now, but if this just continues, I might just be more interested in what the Elseworld is going forward than really anything else connected. Because it's too much turnover. It just is. It is. And already narratives you're telling me I got to pay attention to that aren't connected. It's like, it's just.
That's the thing. There's nothing you really have to pay attention to yet. There's nothing coherent yet. There's really nothing.
Well, to me, the biggest thing I'm holding on to is Batgirl.
Yes, but that literally just got finished filming. That's the thing. There's so many movies that are contingent on other things that are within the same realm.
Right.
You don't want to just dead it, right? The rest so quickly. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to say like, okay, Batgirl came out, we're starting over. I'm saying let Aquaman finish its trilogy, let Wonder Woman finish its trilogy, and then just step back and look at the landscape. Look at the landscape. Look at the fan reaction. Don't ever look at your money, because I feel like for a Warner Brothers DC movie to not make money, you have to be really, really, really bad. So just look at it. Just look at what the people are talking about. What's the narrative? What's the narrative attached to this new regime? Is it, well, shit, Flash was great. Aquaman was great. Wonder Woman was great. Batgirl, Blue Beetle. Let's keep going. Then by all means, you just figure out a way to make it all work. But if the narrative is not good, which is where you're standing now, just take that step back and just look at it.
A lot of that narrative is not based on the movies. It's on
100%.
We have
100%
stuff we can't. We're hearing, and not stuff that we're seeing. You know what I mean?
Right. 100%. That's why I said you don't have to automatically just start over. I'm with you there. It's a way that everything can work itself out, but you do just have to take a step back after a certain point and just take a peek at the landscape. Because to me, it's like you're the new regime. And outside of you selling CW soon and getting rid of the DC shows, I've not really seen what your impact is on this universe that you've now kind of swallowed so far. So that's what I'm looking forward to going forward. No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm looking for going forward. What's your imprint on this universe? And that's why I said sometimes the best way to judge a new job, a new position, a new life is just starting over. But I'm with you. It does not need to be the immediate. But I need to see what their handprint is. Like, what's your stamp? What's the one thing you're gonna do that I can go, this is a new regime and I like it. So So that's what I'm looking forward to. Because, like I said, canceling the CW shows only bought them so much goodwill with me. Because I didn't hear that they're keeping the two shows that are great, Stargirl and Superman and Lois. So I'm like, okay, that only bought you some goodwill. But like I need more. I need more. So I'm just saying I want to see what this new regime does going forward. But I just didn't want to give too much credence to this because it's like, the internet, they're running with, oh, Dylan, yeah, okay. I don't like to do that. I don't like to do that.
I didn't report on it on our page because I didn't.
Me neither.
Mainly because I didn't have legs. Like a lot of people weren't supporting it. It was just really them. And so like if it was just them, I can't. That means it's probably bullshit.
We didn't even hear from My Time to Shine hello.
Right.
Like they weren't even like, yeah. And they're usually like really spot on with certain stuff. So it was just like
accurate lately.
Yeah, it was just like, nah, I don't see it.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody wanted to back them up. So we'll see.
I will say this. I know you never like to get into this mindset because it's just putting negative energy out there. And I don't disagree. But we have fans. So let's just theorize. Is there somebody you would like to see replace him if they do decide to move on? I can go first if you want a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want what's his name from The Boys that plays Huey.
Oh yeah, no, you do.
Yeah. I want him really, really, really bad. I think he just fits. He just fits for what I imagine Barry to be. So I would be completely fine with that. That's who I would go with. What's his Jack Quaid? Is it no? Yeah, Jack Quaid. Yeah. Jack Quaid, because his dad is Dennis Quaid. I was getting confused. Jack Quaid. So I give the fans an actual faith thing to it. So that's who I would go with. I think he just captures everything you would want from Barry. And I'm just sold on his acting. I know he's only been in a few things. I love Scream 5. I love The Boys. And I really love what he brought voice wise to Batman Long Halloween. So I'm like, to me, I know to some people they're like, oh, no problem, not here to argue that. I love it. So that's who I'm going with. If you don't have anybody in mind, Joel, don't even worry about it. Because like I said, it's putting negative energy out there. We don't have to.
I wouldn't be against Dylan O'Brien because he does have the comedic timing, or just I think he can pull it off whichever version they go with. Because I think Dylan O'Brien, I just want to give Dylan O'Brien somebody at this point.
I do want a paradigm shift if it is him. So if we do get a new Flash, I want a personality shift. Because I kind of feel like as an actor, if you're kind of just telling somebody, hey, just do what he did, it's like, well, am I given the freedom to make this my own? Like when you look at Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle, I don't ever go, oh, they're playing exact. No, I'm like, Don Cheadle came in and put his own kind of feel on it, right? They don't feel the same. So to me, the biggest problem people had was Ezra felt a little bit too Wally-ish, right? So I'm like, if that's the case, and you do make that paradigm shift, make him just Barry, right? Make him Barry so that when you do give us Wally, we're not just like, well, they're really the same person. We see the drastic difference between what we know Barry to be and the jokes that we know Wally to be. So to me, I'm like, give him freedoms to kind of change up the personality a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Make it his own. So I would hope that for him, because it's like to do exactly what Ezra is doing. I'm still not sold on it. That's why I was really looking forward to his movie, because it's like there's a lot of Wally in there for sure. I don't think he's completely Wally. I think there's aspects of Barry in there for sure, but I don't know. I really don't know. So because I grew up on Wally's Flash, right? And then you see Grant's Flash. Grant's Flash is drastically different than the Wally Flash we're used to, right?
Well, he's not as jokester.
Right. He's
lighthearted, but he's not as lighthearted.
He's more so the Barry we can picture from the comics, right? Like we could picture Grant as that Barry, and we're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but Barry in the comics before he died, it's very plain white bread. Like he's very didn't have a lot of personality. Right.
So that's why I appreciated what Grant brought to it, the emotion and everything that Grant brought to it. So to me, I'm kind of just like, I think that would be a great new start for that character. Kind of just a small reset button on personality, looks, everything. I'm going to tell you this. I was kind of really sold on him being Nightwing.
Me too.
And
That's why. I mean, I think he has range.
no, I agree. But I will say this. Him being Flash would have to be something I would have to see visually to wrap my head around it.
I can see it.
Height wise, not acting. I will never argue that.
What?
Height wise, I think there's a small discrepancy between Ezra and Dylan. Not a large one, but a small one.
How tall is Ezra? 6 foot?
Yeah, I think around there. Yeah, I think around there. And my biggest issue is Joel. Like, since we heard the rumor of him being Nightwing, I see it. Like, I could dream it right now. I see it. He looks just perfect as Nightwing. The Flash thing is something I would have to now wrap my head around, is what I'm saying.
Ezra's just under 6 foot, so he's 5'11".
Okay.
And Dylan is yeah, because I remember Dylan Bryan from Teen Wolf.
I was about to say that, yeah.
And his character in Teen Wolf was the detective. Really, he was the and he's also the humor of the show. Gotcha. So he was doing both.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Like I said, I'll never question range because, like I said, if someone had told me before the Flash season 1 started, a guy from Glee is going to be your Barry Allen, I would have said no way.
5'10", so they're like an inch apart.
Okay. So then completely throw that logic out. I thought it was at least a few inches difference between the two.
5'10".
Yeah, that's to me that's no difference. That's really no difference at all. Literally no difference. Visually, I would just have to see it, I guess, because to me, in my mind, he could be every version of Dick Grayson. He could be Agent Grayson. He could be a perfect just Nightwing. Like, he literally could do it all. And he is the commanding presence I would want to be the Nightwing of the DCEU. And I've already seen him and Michael Keaton together in a movie, and I love the movie. So I'm like, just so much about it just was perfect. So now if you throw in the Flash, it's like, I guess, like my issue isn't that he can't do it. It's just I want him as Nightwing. That's it. You know what it reminds me of? It's like let me not use that because that's kind of spoilery. Let me say shit. No, I'll leave the comparison alone. We'll get to the comparison later when we get into that conversation. I'll just save it. Because I do have a good comparison, but I don't want to do it this early on. But all right, so we can move on from that. We spent longer than I believe either one of us wanted to. On something we didn't really think was true.
I love news, but that was just a rumor, and it's a rumor that didn't have the best legs. So we'll see. Hopefully there's smoke and there's some type of progress made there. But if not, we still have, like you said, like a year. So we got
it's just too much time. And the last thing you want is changing your actor before the movie even comes out. Because then what do you do for that press tour? Like you put everybody in an uncomfortable situation. Because the question that's going to be for everybody is, hey, so your new Flash. It's like,
that's the thing. When everyone came out stuck, because there's a couple people that came out and denied that already. Like, no, that's not true. I'm like, even if it was true, they're not going to say yes right now.
No, if they say yes right now, that means, and me and you believe that that's impossible because it's never been done. Mm-hmm. But that would mean that they're scrapping that movie, or at least pushing it back to do massive reshoots. Yeah. No way that movie's coming out as is. If you're telling us now, in May, that a movie that doesn't come out till around this time next year, you've changed the actor. Where do you do that at? Like picture if Matt Reeves began filming with Ben Affleck, right? They're almost done filming, and then Matt goes, hey, so Ben said no, so we're gonna go ahead and put Robert Pattinson in. I'm sorry, what? I think not. I think you better put that movie out. Ben better suck that shit up. You can reboot it going forward. Absolutely. But you will not do that right now in the middle of this movie. My heart was set on it. Nope. Nope. But yeah, so much about it would just be confusing because we've theorized that the villain is possibly Eobard pretending to be Barry. So then that makes that even more confusing. Where it's like your hero looks like Ezra, your villain looks like Ezra, but guess what? No more Ezra. And it's just like, well, your whole movie is dependent on Ezra, so figure some
right
stuff
now
out.
it's very Ezra dependent.
Very. So figure that out. But speaking of Ezra, great segue, Joel. Filming on Ahsoka has begun. We've gotten a photo of the chair with Dave Filoni's sexy ass cowboy hat on it. And it is also, very coincidentally, Rosario Dawson's birthday today. So happy birthday to Rosario Dawson and happy Ahsoka Day. Can't wait to hear more information, like who is Ezra? More information like what's this show really about? We know what the premise could be, that they're after Thrawn, but I've not heard a casting of Thrawn. Have you?
Nope.
So it sounds pretty murky that your main villain of the series hasn't been casted yet, and you started filming. Again, certain things like this rarely ever happen. To where they start filming.
3.
Say it again.
How much official castings do we have for that show? 3.
We have Sabine. Clearly, we have Ahsoka. A new character, and I think that's really it.
That's what I'm saying. So there's no, they haven't told us yet. Maybe they're holding out because
Star Wars Celebration is soon.
Yeah, it's right there.
But it's still weird to start filming and we know nothing about it. Like that's rare.
Well, it's good on them for being able to hold that in as long as they have.
Well, it's Star Wars. They're usually really good about holding all that in. Shit, we still know nothing about the Bad Batch season 2.
Yeah, we don't.
So,
Bad Batch.
If anybody can hold on to something, it's Star Wars. That's for sure. So it's not. I'll say this: what I'm giving them credit for is just the idea that it's just a rarity to film something that your fan base knows nothing about. But if there's anybody that can hold that secret, it's for sure Star Wars. But are you excited for this Ahsoka series?
Yeah, I'm excited for any Star Wars series at this point. I mean, I haven't really been disappointed. I've enjoyed them almost more than some of the movies, so it's like, bring it on.
Yeah, definitely less controversial. I mean, I have spoken to a few people recently that didn't like him, and I'm like, I didn't even know people like you existed. But okay, sure.
I've seen these people too. Like,
yeah,
whatever. Sorry. Right. I feel bad for your son.
I will say this though, I have learned that there is a consistent theme with those people though. They don't like the shows, but they love the most recent trilogy. And I'm like, I see.
Really?
I see. You like bad Star Wars. Gotcha. I'm just joking. That's subjective. All right, let's move on to something I couldn't wait to talk about. Not because I cared about it, but I couldn't wait to talk about it because I know how much you care about it. And I always love seeing you geek out about things. We got a trailer today for Love, Death, and Robots, the brand new season. David Fincher is set to direct his first ever animation as part of the lineup for this upcoming season. Now, the reason why I said I'm not excited about it is Joel has been begging me for forever to watch all of this series. I have watched the one episode we watched together. A lot of the visuals freak me out. I can't do it. It just freaks me out. I'm sorry, I can't. Even the way this trailer started freaked me out. Like, oh my God, that looks too creepy. It's just visually, I can't. But I did love the episode we saw together of the werewolf. That was freaking epic. That was really freaking good. But enough out of me. Pass it to you, Joel. This is your love. You love this this series. What are your thoughts on this new season and David Fincher directing an episode?
Well, that sounds amazing. I don't know which one. I think there are only 9 episodes, which is crazy because I swear the first season had like 15 episodes, I think. And then the second one, I think, maybe had 9. And I didn't really pay attention to the trailer today. I kind of want to be surprised going into the new season. So I saw like a couple things, but I didn't really pay attention to it. But none of them are live action. It's all CGI. Like it's all like it's animated, but you can't tell. Sometimes some of them are so like the animation is so detailed you can't tell it's not real. It's insane.
Yep.
insane. I'm like, like the whole thing is beautiful. There's so many different types of animations and different stories. Every episode's different. Some better than others, obviously, but
Hmm.
insane. It's just some of the most beautiful animation you see on anywhere is in that fucking show. It's insane.
Right.
Insane.
And I would compare it to something else that completely visually freaks me out.
What's that?
We saw it obviously with the Doctor Strange movie, but the first trailer for
Avatar.
Avatar,
Mm.
the way of water. I
Water.
said the water before, and it's not the water; it's the way of water.
Way of water.
Um, like I
Wow.
said, I never have a bad word to say about this franchise. It's just not for me. That's it. I told you before I was gonna learn how to implement that term more going forward in my life. It's not
Smart.
my thing.
That
It's
is
not my
smart.
thing. I'll never argue because I know people say it made so much. I'm not here to argue whether it's good to you, whether it made movie, not whether it made money. Sorry. Not
Definitely
here
made
to.
movie.
It definitely made movie. Made movie, made fire.
Does this come out again, right? This year, the first one?
December.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think that I'm the first one coming out
Yeah,
again.
they're re-releasing it. Yeah, around the time of this of this one.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Remember
Um,
this? No. Like,
we tried to forget, but okay, force it on us. No, I mean, look, the premise
oh,
looks cool.
15 years later.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember any of these characters. So when they were showing someone pregnant, I was like, "Is that who Zoe Saldana was playing?" I don't know. I don't know.
You can't tell anymore. They're all blue.
They all look the same. That's what I'm
They're all
saying. I have
blue.
no idea. And then you see one kid that maybe could be his real life son is fighting
Maybe.
alongside of them, and it's like I don't know what I'm looking at, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I recognize the bad guy from the last one in it. That's it. That's the only thing I
I didn't
recognize.
even recognize that, so I'll pass it to you.
Old
What were
guy.
your thoughts on the trailer, Joel?
It was pretty. It was a very pretty trailer. Just like the first movie, it looks like it's gonna be a beautiful movie, but I gotta see it to really know if I like it. I mean, story wise, but overall, um, we'll see. It's one of those like I gotta check it out. Like the first one, I didn't really check it out till later on after it got like, released,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful, but and the second one looks like it'll be the same. Hopefully, it has a good story, and if it does, fuck, cool. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I do look at James Cameron the same way people look at the Marvel Universe. The man's never not made money off of his movies.
Right.
So that's why I said that's never an argument for me on whether or not this movie will make money. All his movies make money. So that'd be a false narrative I'd be sparking. But the question still can be, is the movie good? The first one made a lot of money. I didn't think that movie was good. I thought it was visually pleasing for sure. Never argue that. But the script to me was just like, we clearly know what the selling point of that was. It redefined 3D. It was visually stunning, unlike anything we've seen before, and the concept was fresh. So to a lot of people, they were just like, "Well, you just checked all my bucket lists."
Yeah.
Like fresh idea, visually pleasing. Sign me
At the
up.
end of the day, I mean, I understand why they call it Avatar, but at the end, I thought I'm probably better off calling it Pandora. I don't know why they didn't just go.
That would have made more sense. Yeah,
right. I think
would
I
have made
saw
more
someone
sense.
say that too, because like going forward, like didn't he like stay in the Avatar? So like
They did.
It's not even relevant.
Not anymore. It doesn't
anymore.
look to
The
be
first
really
movie, it's very important in the first movie.
right. It doesn't look like it is for the second one, but we also this is just our first trailer. Maybe they show more in the second trailer where he does go back and forth. I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember. I
don't
didn't see it. They didn't show that he went back. It looked like they had some
no.
versions of them too in the second
Yeah,
one.
they didn't show in this one, but that's what I'm saying. By the time we get the second trailer, maybe they will. But again, it's like we'll worry about that when we come to it.
We got to yeah.
All right, moving on. Kevin Feige says the powers of Miss Marvel aren't exact translation from the comics. Quote, you will see great comic splash panels if you want big giant hands and arms. Well, they're here in spirit, if not in stretchy plastic type ways. In the trailer that they just released yesterday or today, it showcases her not in biggin, but her legs stretched and her arms going in biggin. So I said it before. If you give me that I can accept that. My only problem with Miss Marvel is that I just saw something that leads me to believe Terrigen Mist will be a thing of the future. And if that's the case, just leave the door open. That's all I ask for. I have no problems with this show doing technology or cosmic energy, whatever. Just leave the door open so that if and when Terrigen Mist opens the door, you now don't have to completely change the character to fit that narrative. You've left it open to where, boom, she gets exposed, boom, there you go. She's an Inhuman, and Embiggening is her thing now. Great. Mm-hmm. I just need them to not call anything Embiggening yet. Don't do that. Because I feel like if you do, then it kind of feels like you just won't go there with her actually becoming elastic. And that's my worry.
I think what it is that I think Feige explained it best, and it's like we're not there. They're introducing her before they're introducing what causes her origin. You know what I mean? So it's like to get there, you have to get. Who knows how long before they introduce Terrigen Mist? This is my thing, you know. So and this it connects more to the next movie that she's going to be in, or the movie that she's going to be in the Marvels. So there's probably going to be connections between those bracelets and that. So it's like it's all narratively fits into their story, but because they're introducing her before they're introducing Terrigen Mist, it's just their way around it. You know, they want to introduce Ms. Marvel now, and they don't want to wait till they introduce Terrigen. That's the whole other thing. So, like you said, they're open.
I do also believe part of getting out so quickly of Miss Marvel is just to be different visually. I do believe there's a reason why a movie that should just be called Captain Marvel 2 now has a face for almost each race. I do not believe that is something that is just happenstance. Like, oops, we have 3 different looking types of women. Oops. No, I believe there was a reason for that. To me, let me be very clear. I have no problems with it, but you're not going to try to sell to me that introducing Miss Marvel now was a narrative choice and not a progressive one. That's all I'm saying. And I'm fine with it. No arguments here, but don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. So I get it, but just don't fuck it up for the future is all I'm saying. And we know Feige to not do that. So to me, I have no reason to believe he will. What are your thoughts, Joel?
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, how they explain it. I've been open to the whole fact of them doing it because they haven't introduced Terrigen Mist, you know, and some people don't believe they will, but I'm like, even if they don't, then they have to find a way around it. They have to give him, and then you can't just how do you just explain those powers away? You know what I mean? This is their way around it in a clever way. I know some people are a little butthurt about it not being, is that it's colorful, and it's like, apparently that goes against the whole point of her stretchy powers. I don't know. Maybe I just looked at it differently. Yeah, like it's supposed to like represent puberty. some weird shit. But some people are upset by that. I'm like, okay, I guess I see that.
I don't understand that at all. But okay, people are allowed to feel away. No, that's what I'll give them. But it doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. Everybody fucking has a fucking opinion, and that's fine. It's okay to have an opinion. But so far, I think the way he explained is that right now, where we are in our storytelling in our universe, we had to explain her away in a different way. That's really all it comes down to. And that's what I've been saying. Like it, because everyone keeps saying it's like they're changing it so it doesn't match up with Mr. Fantastic. But I'm like, that's just being lazy.
Very lazy. And I don't understand, Joe, because I heard this a lot. Like, that's not being lazy, because there are similarities. And I'm like, well, no, not enough for you to be like, oh, well, instead of us just actually flexing our brain power, let's just drastically change her. What? That doesn't seem fair. Like I don't understand that at all. That makes absolutely no sense to me. So to me, I'm like, just do better. Like, just do better. There are things Reed Richards can do with his abilities Kamala can't, or doesn't. I'll say that, or doesn't. So I'm like, there is a drastic way to showcase that there are two different entities without having to neuter one. So to me, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, I'm sorry. If you were able to do it in the comic books, I don't understand. Why can't you do it in live action? That to me makes no sense. In the comic books, no one ever goes, they're so similar. Is that his daughter? What's happening here? Like, no one does that. So I'm like, why can't we do that for live action? That to me never makes any sense. So I don't get it.
That's why I don't run by that, because it just doesn't make sense to me that for that to be the reason. I don't think that's what it is. I just think it's a clever way of getting around what they couldn't do, which is the Terrigenous, and that they haven't introduced that yet. And now, like you said, maybe the door is now open for that to be a possibility in the future. And now that it's more of a device that gives her powers, and maybe there is some type of connection there that could lead towards her being connected to the Terrigen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see how they explain this show first, and
And
we'll go afterwards and see how it plays out.
And the biggest way that they've left the door open is we have no idea where the Marvels takes place. I know a lot of people want to assume it's Earth. I'm not assuming it's Earth.
I saw
So
some.
I'm like,
I saw some behind the scenes like pictures of them. It didn't look like it was on Earth. So I was like,
so are you telling me that this couldn't end up being on the moon at some point, or wherever Feige decides to have his Inhumans? Because look, I'll say this: Feige at one point. Wait, say it again.
It didn't look like it was on the moon either, though.
Oh, no. I don't mean the movie solely takes place. I mean, it could be like an end credit. It could be, I'm saying it does not look like it's on Earth. So it opens the possibilities to be anywhere. It doesn't even have to be the moon if that's not where you want to put it. But Feige, I remember once upon a time, was very excited about utilizing the Inhumans. Very, very, very excited. So I have no reason to believe anything has changed.
Yeah, I remember that. They were on the original slate.
They were on the original slate, right? When Vin Diesel was trying his best to become Black Bolt.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, I have no reason to believe anything has changed. So I'm like, we could hear of the Inhumans as soon as the next big panel that he does, where he releases the next slate. So that's why, to me, I'm like, I think people are looking at it from a stance of like, oh, it's not going to happen anytime soon. We don't even have any information. But I'm like, well, news like that usually works both ways. If you're saying we have no information, we don't know that it'll ever happen, you don't have any information telling you that it won't ever happen. So I'm like, it goes both ways. It's not a one-sided argument. It's a dual-sided argument. So it could happen as soon as the end of this year where we hear something about the Inhumans. I'm just saying.
Never know.
All right. James Gunn shares a new image as principal photography has wrapped on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I will say, hearing about the High Evolutionary right around the time that a Wanda story comes out is very, very intriguing to me. Very intriguing to me. Anyone that's confused on what I'm referring to is the High Evolutionary had a hand in creating Wanda. Or not necessarily creating, in the comics, not in the MCU, in the comics, which is where that cow came in handy that we saw in WandaVision. I can't remember the cow's name. That's why I'm saying cow. Sorry. But we do know the High Evolutionary does splice animals with human DNA.
Yes.
Hence why Rocket exists, we believe.
Experimental stuff. Yeah.
Right.
With animals.
So the High Evolutionary was working with Chthon in the creation of Wanda. Because I know a lot of people are going to go, but it's Magneto's daughter. Well, in a world, yeah, sure. But also in a world, she was created. Not by sex, but by science. I don't know if there's any sexual nature in that science of creating her, but anyway, I'm very excited to see the High Evolutionary in Guardians 3. I'm very excited to see Adam Warlock in Guardians Volume 3.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much. And like I said, if no one told me anything about this movie outside of just showing me Peter Quill's new costume, I would say, you fucking got me. You got me. I've been waiting for that specific costume. I love that costume. So I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Joel, how excited are you that we're one step closer to maybe, ending this year on a trailer for Guardians Volume 3?
Hope we get a trailer before because it comes out next May.
Yep.
So yeah, we should hopefully by the end of the year we get something if we're lucky. That'd be great. Because if we're lucky, we might get the holiday special this year. I believe he said we would. So
Yeah, I think he said he would. But
that,
again, to me, I'm always shaky of something that's not completely fully done yet and it has a December release. Because usually when someone gives a December release, it's to give themselves the flexibility of either putting it out exactly in December or maybe like a month or two right after that, to just give themselves a little bit more breathing room. So as far as we know, it's as done as Volume 3 is.
well, they filmed it during Volume 3, so it's
Right.
like
So I'm like, it should be just as done as that is if you filmed it during it. So
exactly. It's just a matter of putting it in post
right.
because they did. Because apparently they gave out like post like damn what's it called
Rap party gifts.
wrap party gifts for the holiday special.
Right. It
Which where
had
they
like
showed,
Groot on an ornament
yeah,
and
but the
Groot looked
Groot looked
different.
like, yeah, he looked like an
Yeah.
adult.
Right.
Yeah.
And remember that was a big thing for me. I'm like, I got to get out of this teenage.
It doesn't look like the Groot the adult
No, not
Groot.
the Groot we remember. Right.
He looks more like somewhere in between.
I'm fine with that. It just needs to be older.
Yeah.
Teenage attitude Groot. No, thank you. I'm sick.
Which is weird. Which is if that's true, then we're gonna see the last time we see Tinker will probably be in Thor.
Yes.
And then when we see him in the
he makes his evolution.
whatever. Right. We'll see a couple of years after that, I guess.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because Thor is supposed to be right after Endgame.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like, oh, so much time has passed. It should be like a month, maybe 2 at the most. And he shouldn't have aged that fast. All right, let's move on. I know you're excited about this, Joel. Season 5 of Cobra Kai is coming September 9th. You got a trailer to go along with that announcement.
Absolutely.
Where's your excitement level for season 5?
Always high because that show is fantastic. The fact that this show is as good as it is like unbelievable. I'm still shocked every day that show as good as it is, and the fact that it kept YouTube Red alive for as long as it did, because I'm sure that's the reason it was alive for so long.
That is very true.
Insane.
Is there any fear that what's his name might depart with what we assume will be the high success of Blue Beetle?
No, I hope not. Depending on how many more seasons they have left. Well, they're on their 5th. I think they said they have 7 seasons in them or some shit. Maybe more. I don't know. They seem to always have more stories that coming out. So
to me, I've always considered Cobra Kai, and I'm not comparing it exactly, so just bear with me. But Cobra Kai is like Ninja Turtles. It's a forever changing story. Like it's not like when you watch let's say we're watching Sons of Anarchy, right? And we're just like, all right, well, there's only but so long you guys could not die, right? Like, at some point this show just realistically should end. I look at Cobra Kai and I'm like, if we got on to season 10, I wouldn't be like, oh, you've outstayed your welcome. I would go, yeah, it's a forever changing narrative. You could do so many different things with it. Rival dojos, like there's just so many things you could do with it. So to me, I'm like, I would not be shocked if this has a long shelf life, because again, there's a lot of people that didn't see what's his name for the CW going as long as it did. You know what show I'm talking about, right?
Which one?
The paranormal show. The paranormal
Supernatural.
show. Yeah, Supernatural.
Shit lasted forever. I know. I watched them all.
It was trying its best to become the One Piece of live action. So I'm like, I could see Cobra Kai going on for a really long time. So that wouldn't shock me. And look, everyone's been very high on all of its seasons so far. So I'm like, well, when you're at a high like this, if you can go 7, it's not a stretch to believe that you can go 3 more. So it's like,
yeah, I guess not.
If it's not bad by 7, it's like, well, 10 isn't out of the realm of possibility.
They've implemented all the history of the movies already. Like they've already hit like the 2nd movie, 3rd movie. I'm like, oh my god, like what are they gonna do? Like the next Karate Kid? Are they gonna go there? I don't know if they should, but
Joe's like, but I'm interested. I'm willing to see what it pans out.
He wasn't the Russo wasn't even in that one.
All right, let's move on. David Ayer will direct The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham. I don't need to say anything else. I'm sold. Joel, what are your thoughts? Do you need any more information?
Nah, not really. Nah. I'm good.
Jason Statham is in my top 10 favorite actors of all time. So you sold me there. I don't think there's a Jason Statham movie I have not seen. There might be Jason Statham movies I have not loved, but there's for sure not many Jason Statham, if any, Jason Statham movies I have not seen.
Well, I've heard Wrath of Man was good. I haven't seen it yet.
What the fuck, Joel? What? Go watch it. It's on Paramount. Paramount. Yeah, it's on Paramount. It is. I'll say this. I know your taste, and you enjoyed The Gentleman. It's like that.
I do like The Gentleman.
It is very much like that. Jason Statham puts on a really good, and the twist in that movie is just like, okay.
Always like a nice twist.
And when you see that movie, let me know, because I want to see if you notice my favorite actor that's in that movie, and you'll know him when you see him. I'm not gonna say his name, but when you see him, you'll go, I know why Juwan loves this movie.
All right.
Like, that's just a cherry on top. They gave Juwan Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham and this guy. He was eating good. He was eating good. Because I remember when I saw him pop up, I was just like, well, no way this movie could be bad. But yeah, so to give our fans more of an idea about this movie, The Beekeeper is a fast-paced action thriller which is steeped in the mythology of beekeeping, follows a man's personal journey of vengeance, which takes place, which takes on national stakes. I don't know what any of that means, but it's Jason Statham, so it means it's ass whooping time. So I'm sold.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm sold. And look, David Ayer.
You're talking to a guy that's excited for the next Expendables.
Doesn't take much, right? Doesn't take much.
Exactly.
The selling point on action movies is very mid. Doesn't take much for me. Doesn't take much.
Give me good action. I need the most coherent. I need a super coherent storyline.
Not at all. Good. Yeah, I'm like, did his face explode? Yeah, well then I'm good. Fuck, I don't need a story. Explode his face. I can just picture me being an executive and somebody walking in like a thought-provoking action movie, and I'm just like, whoa. How many faces get exploded? None. Well, I can't say yes to this story. Sorry. You gotta rewrite that. I need faces exploding. All right, let's move on.
Vamonos.
Let's see. I guess we could talk about this. Jason Momoa will star in Warner Brothers' murder mystery film, The Executioner, from Eternals writers Ryan and Kaz Firpo. This is billed as a fun action murder mystery in the spirit of Knives Out meets Lord of the Rings. I don't even know how to wrap my mind around that. What?
I don't know how to imagine that, but I love everything I'm hearing.
Yeah, like that is like the strangest, most sign me up concept I've ever heard in my life. Like Knives Out meets Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Yeah, I'm in though.
Look, I'm very excited. This is one of the few times where I swear I wish I was an executive. Because just sitting in a room and listening to somebody go, all right, listen, I'm going to break down to you Knives Out meets Lord of the Rings. I'm just like, that's like two different sides of the road. What? Yeah. And then just sitting there and allowing them to blow my mind. Like, oh my God, yes. Can we start production tomorrow? Like, sign me up. But yeah, this just, I mean, and look, you casted Jason Momoa in it. Like, again, the starting point is really great for some of these announcements we've talked about. That's a great selling point. Jason Momoa, you got me. Now it's just everything else. Like, it's Absolutely. Just, what is everything else here? So, I mean, you've already elaborated somewhat, but how crazy does that sound?
Sounds insane. That's why I love it. So, and you add Jason Momoa into it. All right, like I don't understand how or where or when, but
sure.
I need to see shit now. Like, give me more information. Like, I love the idea of crossing the two together, but now it's a matter of writing it. You know, right. Can you give me a good script that's like Knives Out? But that's really important. You know,
that's very important because that script was shocking.
Yeah, Knives Out was really good, really well written. not doing that with fucking like elves and dwarves and humans. If you're really telling me that that's what I'm getting, I'm like, okay.
I better get a fucking dragon in this movie. That's all I'm saying. Like, who did this? Well, there's fire tracks. So I'm going to assume the dragon killed the guy. So
it's Mithril.
It's like, all right, well, mystery over. The dragon did it. All right, move on. All right, now to some disrespectful news in the world of television. We get our first look at Melissa Fumero and Randall Park in Netflix's blockbuster series. That should just not be allowed for so many different reasons. Netflix is what directly put Blockbuster out of business. I kind of feel like this is you essentially, and I'm not even, let me just be very clear. I'm not even taking it too far when I say this. That is the equivalent of pissing on someone's grave. That is the equivalent of, I stole your job, it drove you insane, you died, and then I went and pissed on your grave. Right. It's like, that's like giving the murderer someone's ashes. Like, what the fuck? Like,
it's like killing someone and then sending the family of them the video of how they died. This is how they died. I hope you enjoy the dramatization of their death.
That's like the doorbell ringing and someone going, hey, I have flowers in an edible arrangement. It's like, oh my God, thank you. We're grieving. And the guy's like, oh, I know. The guy that sent this to me, I watched the news and it's the guy that killed your son. And it's like, whoa, what? Yeah. He sent him flowers and fruit, but enjoy. It's like, that's weird. What? You psychopath. I love Melissa. I love Randall Park. But a part of me does not want to support this because I miss Blockbuster. Not Blockbuster as the company, just the experience of going in, right? And not having YouTube for trailers and shit and asking someone like, hey, how was Scream 2? And then being like, it was fucking great. And you go, all right, yeah, I'll rent it. Yeah, I'll rent it. Because you really had nothing else to really go off of, right? If you didn't see the trailer in the movies, or hear about it in the newspaper, you had to just strike conversation like, hey, how was that movie, by the way? Oh, it was good? Okay, cool.
The title or the cover is all you had.
Right, that was really all you had, or word of mouth. Yeah, or word of mouth.
If you're lucky, you went there with an idea of what you wanted to rent. But
that's why I believe that's why a lot of movies were regarded as good by a lot of people back then, because you had no chance to set expectations on anything.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I watched a movie and I got over there and so that movie sucked. I'm like, dude, I just finished it. Yeah, I just watched it. It was fine. Really? I can't tell you. I'm like, really? Look, it was good to me.
I was like, I didn't see any problem with it. I don't understand what you're talking about. But yeah, so I want to hate watch this because I support the actors, but I don't support you.
I love the actors. Yeah.
So I don't support that.
Yeah.
That is really wow.
Watch it for nostalgia purposes. I remember Blockbuster fondly, but
I do too. It was.
I don't actually miss it because I mean, fuck them. That's too easy now. Seriously.
Well, yeah, that's why I say I don't miss the company necessarily. Just the memories of how much fun it used to be. Just striking converse, even games, even going to rent a game. You were just like, hey, you're returning that, right? How was that? It was good. Okay, all right. Because all I saw was just a picture.
I didn't go to Blockbuster until I got older, when I used to be able to drive and stuff like that. Because I had a video place literally down the street, so I would walk there. It was a little mom and pop shop type of easy. Okay. So I didn't have to go far. Blockbuster was on the other side of town. I was like, unless I was over there, I wasn't renting shit from over there. So everything was right here. So I don't have this. It's the same idea because that's all it is. You're renting videos from the same shit. So Blockbuster was way more mainstream and way more variety.
It was just the popularity, really.
Yeah, it just is a lot more selection wise.
Yeah, my mom knew that was the only time I would behave in school was when she's like, "All right, you behave this week. We'll go to Blockbuster on Friday." Well, you're gonna get a really good Jawan this week. Now next week, if you can't afford that shit, all bets are off.
It's almost like a library though. When you used to rent shit and you had to remember to bring it back, man.
Yeah, I've never utilized a library, but I imagine the concept makes sense. Yeah, I imagine it makes sense. I've just never utilized a library. Now that I think about it.
Never ever used the library?
No.
Ever.
In the concept of like checking out a book and then bringing it back, no.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we had a library in our school, but that's different. That's like for like Scholastic is what I would do. No, I never did that. I did Scholastic, where you pay for the books and shit. But
I'm talking about when you
checking out a book
out. Yeah, I remember checking out books at school. You had to bring it back.
I remember I was very much of the mindset of, you make me read fucking books from September to June, and now you expect me to do that shit on my own time? You're fucking insane. I'm like, do you have comic books?
Those books they gave you for free. Those motherfuckers you take home and they gave it to you to read. And you
I'm like, do you have any comic books? Yeah, they're like, no, we don't have any comic books. Well, then I'm not checking out shit here. The fuck? I can only read but so many Magic Treehouse books. So,
don't get me wrong, if there was any comic book related books on those Scholastic shits, they were mine.
Oh, 100%. Bro, I can't tell you how many times my mom bought me something geeky, but it wasn't like a book. It was like you could color in some of the pages, or it was like stickers in the middle. Yeah. Like that was really it. Like you could get like real content. I loved those at the time. Shit, you give me one right now, I'll go to town.
Very protective of my coloring back in the day. You color in the lines, you don't color at all, motherfucker.
Oh, bro, I am so with you, man. There was nothing that irked me more. Why even try if you're not gonna try to get it into the lines? What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, do you ever walk in Earth and just see a random green just hanging midair? Yeah. Like, no. Color the lines.
I'm trying to teach Autumn now. I'm like, just stay in the line.
Oh, well, she's super young. That's understandable.
I know, but she's got to learn. God damn it, like, stay in the line. You stay on your side. You color your page.
I'm coloring this side. You just get that.
Don't touch my
page. And you know what? You know what I was also protective of? I'm protective of if we're coloring, right? And I got grass, you're coloring the sun. If your sun's not yellow, you don't get to color a sun. You don't get to make that shit purple, green. It's yellow. When you go outside, what color do you see? Yellow. You don't see a green sun. No, we don't do that.
Sometimes I would color the sun orange, and then the rays would be yellow. Sometimes.
That's fine. That's what society has always pictured the sun to be. It's a yellow middle with orange around it. So that's fine. That's not like weird, but like, yeah, grass being purple. What the fuck do you think this is?
Random ass colors.
Yeah. Hell no. Well, I didn't have a yellow. Well, then you don't color the sun. The sun doesn't exist to you today.
It's the color of the paper it's on.
Yeah, that's it. You don't get to just switch shit. What's wrong with you? All right. Let's move on. We got our first trailer for House of the Dragon. Sorry, the thes, always escape me. Yeah. House of the Dragon. Cool. I that's really all I can say for it. Again, as you know, I wasn't high on Game of Thrones when it first came out. That was a complete whole watch all at once for me. 3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago. So for me, it's like, okay, I reserve till when I see it. When I see it, that's when I'll really get excited. But for now, cool. It looks visually pleasing, so that's always great. But what are your thoughts?
It looks great. I mean, I gotta see it to really fall in love with it. But I can't, hearing the music again, it gave me all the feels again. I was like, I really do miss that show like a lot. So I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to go back to that world.
I cannot lie. I do sometimes look back and think, I miss you. I really do miss you. That last season, but you as in general, I miss you. I miss you a lot.
Absolutely, yeah, same way. I mean, look, I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did, but I understood it had its flaws, mainly because, in my opinion, it was just rushed.
I was just about to say the same thing. They literally were just like, bitch, I'm trying to get to Star Wars. like Game of Thrones. But I will say my issue isn't even that it was rushed. My issue is you built up since episode 1 of season 1 of us getting Jon Snow versus the Night King. And then the day comes.
And he doesn't they don't even fight.
You see him fly over him and go, nah, fuck you. Like, that's almost as wild as when I was watching it live. I'm watching Goku fight Cell and then say, Cell, hold on now. You got me. Gohan, come on. The fuck? What? Now, when you see it play out, you're like, okay, that was really cool. No problem. But in the beginning, I'm just like, I was just as confused as Vegeta. Like, Gohan? What the fuck? I'm like, if you could beat Cell, what the hell do you think Gohan has? Little did we know, he had a lot. But that's how I felt watching that.
Yeah, that was supposed to be like the
passing of the torch.
Passing of the torch, which obviously did not work out that way, but yeah, that's kind of what the plan was.
They fumbled that, and then they doubled down on Gohan can only become so powerful. like Goku and Vegeta can go Super Saiyan 36, and then Gohan's like, all right, Super Saiyan 3 this year?
I wear glasses now.
They're like, no, you don't get to go to 3. It's like, I don't understand. Why can no other Saiyan go to 3 but just those two? It's like, well
they're purebreds.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, blame Chi-Chi.
Blame Chi-Chi.
Right, you were reading when you could have been powering up to Super Saiyan 3. So,
She just wants her kids to be well educated. I don't understand.
Yeah. I'm like, Chi-Chi, the world ends once every year. And you're like, but you need a job. Chi-Chi, the world will end tomorrow. What are we talking about here? Teach him how to fight.
You need to defend Earth.
Goodness gracious. All right. Now moving on to Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi has high praise for Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. Quote, and in my humble opinion, we have probably the best villain that Marvel's ever had in Christian Bale. Now, I believe you can make an argument you have the best actor for your villain, but I can't give you that till I fucking see Gore. You still won't show me him. So I'm like,
it's a lie.
Goodness gracious. I'm like, I'm at the doorstep, and it's like, well, is he in it? I'm starting to think Thor's fighting air for half this movie. Goodness gracious. Yeah, look, I can't argue with him. I haven't seen it, haven't seen the movie.
Right.
But, Marvel has had some very passable villains, so it's possible this could be one of them.
I don't know what you want him to say, though, either.
100%.
They have the worst fucking superhero. That's my choice, too.
Right, yeah. You know what? I've always said that would be very interesting if a director ever came out and said that. Like, their movie is about to come out and they're just like, all right, guys, listen, come here. This sucks. It's like, whoa, what? Yeah, I did not. I did not do it. It was wrecked. Yeah, I did not do a good job on this. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like somebody building your house. Like, as soon as it's done, you're like, this is so fucking beautiful. And then he goes, hey, come here. It
really is.
The bricks that I put in, they're not the best. And it's like, whoa, what? Yeah, they're not the best. Like a tornado, or not even a tornado, like really aggressive winds might take your home. It's like, what the fuck? Like, fix it. So yeah, so I don't know the context. Like, was this brought up to him? Did he just say, hey, I think I have the best villain? Because that sometimes matters. Because I'm like, if you're ass, there was no way he was going to tell you anything else. But if he just willingly just came out of nowhere and was like, hey, I got the best fucking villain ever breathed in the MCU. It's like, well, yeah, all right, that's ambitious. And that's really ambitious.
I'm like, okay, I hope so.
I mean, to be fair, Hela was really great. So
she was. He did go with Hela.
He did. I still to this day don't like the changes, but she was awesome. So
yeah, I wasn't a fan of her becoming the sister, but whatever.
Because it still just didn't make sense. I'm like, why can't you just make this Loki's daughter? I don't understand.
I don't understand it.
Like, there was no reasoning as to why she needed to be anything else. Yeah. And then here's the thing that made it even worse, and they didn't even elaborate on it. She showed us a photo of her with Mjolnir.
Yeah.
What?
Like, he wielded Mjolnir before Thor did?
What? Like, he literally was trying to make everybody believe she never existed. Like, hey, I made this for Thor. And it's like,
she tried to like turn on me, so I put her.
I put her in the ground. I put her in the ground. We don't talk about a daughter in Asgard. All right. All right. Moving on. Oscar Isaac says there are no official plans for a season 2 of Moon Knight. Quote, I love being Steven. So, if there was a story that really made sense, I'd be happy to be a part of it. Now, I said this before. I'll say it again. Elizabeth Olsen in recent interviews was asked about the Scarlet Witch's future, and she said there are no current plans, but if there is a good story, I will always come back. That is code for I can't tell you when the season 2 is happening or if it's even happening. That's Kevin's job. Kevin will come out and tell you. Mm-hmm. That's all that means to me. Because right, because again, the likelihood of you bringing Oscar Isaac in to introduce Moon Knight and then you never come back to Moon Knight makes absolutely no sense. It's just a character you never had to utilize. So it's like, now that you have utilized him, why would we believe that we'd never see him again? I don't understand that logic. I really don't. Like Moon Knight's not Iron Man. Like, you can't make an Avengers without Iron Man, but you can make a cohesive MCU without a Moon Knight.
Of course, they have.
So it's like so to introduce him and then never to go back to him. That doesn't make sense to me.
What's the point? Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, it's all talk. You know, I bet he likes playing Steven. But I bet he liked playing all of them. Like, you get a chance to stretch your acting chops by playing that not one, but two, but three different characters.
Great. And you can make a case. No, three. No, I'm with you.
Three personality-wise, but you get to wear two different costumes, maybe three in the future. It's like,
right.
That's
the what's his name? The costume designer for season 1 spoke on that. Said that he would give him his more classic suit for Jake if he got the opportunity to. But there were no plans.
The black suit is what he said. It kept saying.
Right. The one that I've just been dying for. So I was very happy to hear that. Like,
black and white.
Yeah, when we do hear the announcement that is something that is possible. Yeah, but I'm with you. It's just talk. So, moving on.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, we haven't talked about the finale of Moon Knight yet, have we?
We did.
Not here.
Oh, no, not here. So, yeah, you can go ahead. What are your thoughts on the finale?
Finale was awesome. I think we both agreed. It's a fantastic way to go out. I mean, introduced us to the Scarlet Scarab, even though they never called her that. But it was
no. They have.
They have now, but not in the show.
Oh, no, not in the show. No.
I know Marvel finally said it, right, which I was very happy to hear. I was like, yeah, well, I kind of said that was going to happen, but I didn't know how. And now we know how.
You did speak it into existence for sure.
Yeah, I thought it would literally be more comic accurate. I thought it would be like the Ruby Scarab.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was just all reference to that red scarab because you see it all, like most of the series. It always references like her with a red scarab. So, right. And the same thing happens with now she's the avatar of Tarawat, right?
Yep.
And Tarawat, as you saw, had a blue beetle in her chest. And now she's the avatar and she wears a red scarab on her neck. She had wings and swords and she was badass, man. So I'm happy to see a new superhero join the reins. The character of the Scarlet Scarab is from the comic books, but not like this. This is very, very
not even close. Yeah. Not even close.
First Egyptian superhero, female superhero on top of that, and adds to the whole supernatural team up, hopefully in the future. So, because there's not enough of those, I'll tell you that much. So they added that, the whole like him, like because it ended, and you're like, how the fuck are they supposed to get back to each other? And it's this whole emotional like story, like not story, but like moment between Mark and Steven over like he's like, I'm not gonna go, basically I'm not passing over without you. You know, so he went back for Steven. He went into the desert and he had this whole emotional thing with them and he put his heart on his hand and he ended up freezing with them. But they were luckily right next to the gates.
Right next to the gates. Like, oh shit, hey gates.
That they mentioned in the last episode where they needed to go if they were gonna go back to the real world, and only Osiris can let you through, and Osiris is obviously getting his ass whooped, so he's like, I need some help. Like,
right,
so he let them through.
He was like, I am getting my ass whooped. Can you help me out here?
Yeah. So with the help of Tarawat, they go through, and Mark and Steven come back to reality, and as Khonshu's getting his ass up as well, I believe at this point, he's like, "Oh shit, Mark, there you are!" And so that's how the Moon Knight returns. But before that, he did try to recruit Layla, who wholeheartedly was like, I don't fucking trust you, so
Yeah,
go
she's
away.
like, I'm not doing
I'm not
that.
messing
I'm
with you.
sorry.
No, no, no. But Tara did get her to eventually join forces so that she can help bring Mark back. And so now the fist of country returns, and then they go battle with the now released Amit and her avatar, Harrow.
Yep.
And he got a nice new stick. He didn't get a suit. He got his, his cane got
Yeah,
upgraded
he's
to
just
like
got
an axe.
an extended
Yeah,
stick.
yeah. It's kind of very Stormbreaker-ish. An axe. It was like a much
Yeah.
thinner version with like whatever power boost, and he can obviously raise monsters and shoot purple beams, whatever. It was cool. And so they basically went to war on the streets, and then there was this whole kaiju battle that no one could see going on in the background between Amit and Kanchu,
Yeah.
which was cool visually for people that could see it, but obviously it was just
If you
totally
couldn't
like
see it, it was just like, bro, you don't even know what you
you
missed
have no
yesterday.
idea what you're missing, bro. It's crazy
There
shit
were
going on.
gods in the sky. Gods in the sky. There were gods in the sky. It's like that's where God is, isn't he? No, 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 no. Sorry, I said sky. They were on toes on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. It was super crazy. It's like, how did you see it? I don't know. I think maybe I'm dead. I don't know, but I saw it. I saw
You
it.
didn't see that? You didn't see that? That was crazy. I saw
He's like,
Godzilla.
yeah, he's like, I saw a purple glow and then I saw gods fighting. So I don't know if that means I was dead for a second. I don't know, but shit happened.
I was passing over this fucking giant kaiju.
As my soul was transcending, I was just like, oh, what would you look at
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, everybody that was like leaving, they saw the fight on the way up.
Right.
Like,
They were
what
just
the
like,
fuck is going on?
like, oh, okay. And then right as they were about to completely go, like their bodies just slammed back down. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck just happened?
Like,
what was this?
This lady just grabbed my wrists and I passed on. I saw these two things fighting and then I came
It
back.
was weird. I didn't know what I was looking at. Like, shit.
Shit went down in Egypt today.
It went down. God bless Egypt. No, but I'm really with you. This was a very successful season finale. I know a lot of people had issues with the season as a whole, with maybe its pacing, maybe feeling as though that they needed to rush the finale, which I
that needed more action. Okay.
I don't understand how you go into something that is not meant. Like, again, if I go into Expendables, right, I would never come out of that movie going, bro, that script was not strong. What the fuck did you think this was going to be? And it's like, have you ever seen a Marvel movie that is just mindless action? No story, just walk in there, Iron Man's just shooting motherfuckers? Like, no. It's stories for all of these movies, all of these shows. So to me, you can't sit through WandaVision, that's nothing but fucking story, and then go, oh, no, I needed more action. What? Like,
I thought it was a great character study, and a good way to
as the character is, though.
Right, yeah.
I like that they didn't change it to format or to appease the masses. Like, no, bro, if this is supposed to be a character study like the character is, dive into it. You don't have to appease people. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But make it what it's supposed to be. Now
the character is, and they don't have to ask them there.
Right, because it's now never a concept of the next time you see him, like, oh, like, who is this Moon Knight? Like, you know exactly who he is. If you didn't like the show, you didn't like the show. Fuck it. But you know who he is. That's not a question anymore.
And you get the whole shtick.
And now they can stretch their legs and just give you action because they've established the character. But that's, again, I tell people that's what they do with movies. The first movie is always story driven. The second movie is just pure action. Why? Because now they don't have to bore you down with details, or bog you down is the term, with details. They can just go full bore. Shit, I can make an argument. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I can make an argument. Expendables 1 was story driven. Again, it had crazy action, but it was way more story driven than the second one. Yeah. Second one, they were just doing wild shit in that. Third one, they did even wilder shit. So I'm like, that's just how movie structure, show structure is. The first time you see a character, I keep trying to remind people, Iron Man 1 was not action-packed. Iron Man 1 was story, with the middle and ending being your biggest action points. And that's exactly what Moon Knight was. Moon Knight was story, and then your towards the end was your action pack. That's what the shit is, man. Sorry, that's what it is.
The story drove that show more than the action. And you got
Yes,
sprinkles of good action in it,
right,
but
right.
that's not what it focused on.
No, just like WandaVision. You see
Right.
the finale and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. Yeah,
Most of
where's
the
this
action
been?
was the finale. There was
Exactly.
little bits in between, but really just the ending of
Just the finale.
WandaVision.
And I never heard people complaining about that. So I see what the narrative out there is. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. You know that the only two things I was asking for besides my suit was Conchu in the suit and my fucking Spectre mobile. That's what I'm calling it. I know that's not what it's called, but I'm calling it that. And I got it. They gave it to me at the same time. That made it even more orgasmic.
You got three things at the end of that in that post credit scene.
Oh, I was like,
oh. You got the introduction of Jake Lockley officially.
Mm-hmm.
You got Contra in a suit in the fucking limo with said Spectre on the license plate.
Yeah, and I remember Joel was just like, "It's not necessary, Joanna." I'm just like,
"It really isn't."
Well, to fucking you, I need that shit. Because to me, I love the aesthetic of Mark in it. And he just has the mask off because he's obviously Mr. Knight. Just the mask off, just lounging back in that fucking limo, just like looking for people to beat up. And it's just like, I love it. I love it. I love it. And they kind of went away from Jake being a cab driver because cabs don't really exist today. So I like that he's a limo driver. Because we were asking that, we were like, is he gonna be like an Uber driver? And it's like, well, no, they don't want to have to pay Uber, so you can't do that. Just make him a limo driver. That works. Yeah, people still use limos today.
It makes perfectly fine, and him as a limo driver is interesting. I like it, love it. That's his. Those are his wheels. Let's go with it.
And look, I like it driving Conchu around. I like it. I really like it. I like it a lot.
Hey, I can't wait for more Moon Knight and other characters to show up.
Yeah, and look, Werewolf by Night is later on this year. Blade is next year. Blade better fucking be next year. Haven't they started already?
Not yet.
Or are they still in post-production or pre-production?
No, they're in pre-production.
Okay. Blade, you better fucking come out next year. Into next year. Fuck you up. All right, now to the thing Joel has been waiting to talk about. A new trailer for Green Lantern Beware My Power has been released. There's some decisions that were made that I would not have made because I don't fucking like it. But Ernie Allbacker's writing it, so I'm game. Co-writing it, yes, but to me, he's writing. So I'm excited for it. It does look like a lot of fun. Watching this reminds me, I don't have a Green Lantern in my DCEU. So I watch it and then just get really depressed. It just get like I watch it, I'm like, you look so beautiful. You would look even more beautiful on the big screen. But Joel, you were really excited for this. What were your thoughts on the first trailer for Beware My Power?
Yeah, I love it because it's another entry in this new universe that they're creating, animated universe. And I'm glad it's the Green Lantern getting some play finally. He didn't get any play, no solos in the last universe. Right. And they even switched out Hal for John a couple times, and no explanation as to why. It's just he's off doing something else. I took his place. Okay, sure. So and there's a lot of they do that a couple times with certain characters. Like Hawkman showed up, never explained why. Okay, cool. So this time we get Beware My Power. It's an origin story for John. Looks like Howl's already been the Green Lantern. He's apparently killed in battle, and it looks like a Guardian gives him his ring in this case,
which is weird.
It's different. Again, I don't know. John's origin isn't really. You can play with it. It's not like Hal's.
Oh no! I don't mean accurate wise. I just mean a Guardian landing on Earth, dying, and then passing on a ring. That's just so weird to me.
Like, hello, thank you.
Yeah, it's just like, why are you this active? Like if the Guardians are fighting, that means some shit has really gone down.
Why are you here?
Yeah, like just for fans that only know the broad strokes of Green Lantern, I'll give you guys that just don't really know the character that well a proper example that makes sense. When you watch What If and you saw Uatu have to step out of being a watcher and get his hands dirty, that's the equivalent of the Guardians coming down and leaving Oa to fight. If they're fighting, that means the Lantern Corps has to be almost depleted. It means whatever they're fighting is too strong for your core. You have to step in, let alone you getting shot out of the sky and landing on Earth and dying. Like, that's just something we don't usually see. They're not that active. They usually are just like, well, if Hal can't do it, we're dead. It's like, well, in this case, someone else has to step in. And it's just like, no, I don't think they can. If Hal can't do it, fuck it, we're goners. So that's what I mean by weird, not because it's inaccurate to John's story. You can do whatever you want with that. I just mean it's weird for a Guardian to be outside of Oa, let alone dying. Like, what the hell happened? Like, and remember, from what we're seeing, this is a relatively newer Sinestro, as far as his role within the Corps. So it's like, who did this, and how are they strong enough to kill Hal?
It looks like a couple.
That's my biggest question.
So we'll see. I guess. I mean, the Justice League apparently they are in this, so it's not just the Green Lantern. We have Green Arrow. Well, at least we saw Green Arrow. We saw Vixen. We saw Martian Man.
Speaking of which, when we wrap this up, make sure I don't close me and you out. Because I do have some news for you, for some stuff that you wanted to hear about.
I hope so.
Yeah, so make sure I don't close out so I can tell you about it.
Who's getting pushed? That's all I want.
I got those answers for you. But what's I gonna say? Yeah, so to me, I like the way it looked. It does make me sad constantly that we're not getting. Let me not say that we're not getting. We haven't gotten word on when we're getting the actual Green Lanterns we fucking want in live action.
Apparently they start filming in the summer, and that's all we've heard about the live action Green Lantern series.
Right, the series, but I'm saying the Lanterns me and you really movie. Want. Yeah, we've heard nothing.
We haven't heard shit in a while, yeah.
It's like, right, it's like, well, this will only appease me for a little bit.
I saw some random bullshit saying that they want it out by 2024, but I'm like, I don't know who said that. Where they're coming from?
You know what's funny, Joel? You know what's funny about you saying that? It's the same people that are telling everybody that the Batman sequel will be 2024, and it's like, where are you getting this from? Like, does that make sense? Sure, but I kind of believe if you're Matt Reeves, you want a bigger break than that. It's 2022. Your movie just came out. That means you get right back into the swing of things next year.
I mean, and then Penguin's supposed to be filming soon. I don't know how involved he's going to be in that. So it's like,
well, to me, I kind of feel like he's just an EP. So like he could, and look, you could actually do what James Gunn did for Guardians. You could film Penguin as you're filming the Batman sequel. So I'm like, there's a way to do it to where you can, but I have to imagine if you're Matt Reeves or Robert Pattinson, fuck Matt Reeves, you want somewhat of a break. You just did it. Like, you just did the movie, and now you want me to get right back to work?
No, the movie just came out, but they did it a while ago.
No, they did do it a while ago, but I'm saying
pandemic helped move shit along. You're like, motherfucker.
They did.
They filmed during the pandemic.
I was gonna say they finished in 2021. But to me, I'm like, is it realistic it could come out in 2024? Sure, but where you got that year from is just like, that's wishful thinking. That's not. Like, you didn't hear that.
If it does, that'd be great. I mean, I would not be upset if you're telling me it comes out in 2 years. Cool.
Fuck it. If you could give it to me tomorrow, I'd fucking take it. But to me, I have to imagine they would want to just put some kind of space in between the release and then when you get back to shooting it. But I am a firm believer of sequels should never take that long. Sequels should be, if it comes out in 2022, my sequel should be out in 2024. There just shouldn't be large gaps. You know, especially in a world. You're in a world of your own. You're not in a world dependent on, well, now I got to tell another story. Like, no, you're in your own world.
I mean, you get, because you're in your own, you don't have to rush as much either.
No, you don't.
Like Avatar.
Well, that's just James Cameron's MO. So, you know, that's just always been him.
That's a hell of a gap.
and look, James Cameron's like, they'll still fucking love me. And look, that trailer came out and people are slobbing on his knob. So it worked. He was right. But yeah, so I really do like the way that this animated movie looks, and your boy Joel is voicing John Stewart, Aldous Hodge. Yep. So I'm really happy for you. Yep. bringing that Black Power to its heights.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, yeah, I'm just really excited to see it and where this universe goes forward. I can't wait to see the stories that they tell.
Give me more. Give me more. Like I gotta see. I'm not when the Constantine one comes out. I want to see that.
I do know. I got you after this. I again, that's another thing. Talk to me about. But I did see people on Twitter that are like, I don't like how quickly they're pushing the Justice League narrative, and I'm like, I disagree. I don't like having to reset up the Justice League. I like it. I like you approaching the Justice League like you approach Spider-Man. He's already Spider-Man. I don't have to go through the broad strokes of, oh, this is how they become a team. I think people forget that's exactly what they just did with the New 52. We saw how they became a team.
Exactly.
I don't need that shit again.
They're setting it up while in the background while during these movies are going on.
Right. So I'm like, to me, I like it. I like that they're already an established team. Maybe don't have a name, but they're an established team, and it's more so about bringing new pieces onto the team.
Right.
I don't know how much I enjoy Barry being a recruiter. And I'm speaking in terms of Barry is who recruited Bruce Wayne. That's all I'm speaking to. I'm not saying it like I know anything else. But Barry recruited Bruce Wayne. I don't know how much I like that. But it is better than Bruce Wayne recruiting the entire Justice League. That makes way more sense.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day. I'll take Flash recruiting over Bruce Wayne recruiting. You know, the same Bruce Wayne that doesn't believe he needs a team is the one you have recruiting. That's not Batman like at all. So that's weird to me.
Not a fan of that, but
I don't like that at all. But all right, Joel, we got 2 more things before we get out of here. The 4th season of Jack Ryan will be the final season. A spinoff with Michael Pena is being discussed at Amazon.
Yes.
Look,
very disappointing, but also that part's exciting.
Look, I'm not one to look into theoreticals, but I will say it does line up that John Krasinski is making himself available around the same time a director stepped out of a project. I'm just saying, a certain somebody left directing Fantastic Four. There's an opening for directing Fantastic Four. And now the front runner that people want to be Reed Richards just so happens to be a director and now has the freedom to direct. I'm just saying.
Exactly. We'll see. We'll absolutely see. Because
I'm just saying.
It's out there.
I mean, I'm just saying. I did see this man direct what I think is a cult classic in that first what's it called? Fucking not Don't Breathe. Fucking shit. What is his horror movies called? John Krasinski. Quiet Place. Thank you. I think that's a cult classic. I really do. I really truly do. I think every generation will want to see that movie, or see a variation of that movie. I do believe it's a cult classic. We'll look back at that very fondly. All right. Last thing I want to do, I wanted to save it for the end of the episode to give everyone an ample time to make a decision on whether or not they've seen it. But Joel, not a full breakdown because that will be Wednesday when we do it on Wednesday, but just your broad strokes of Multiverse of Madness.
Broad strokes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I want to say it was like a roller coaster, but it's like a roller coaster that starts fast. It's not slow. It starts right from the gate. You're going. And I remember sitting there when the movie starts, right after the action scene that starts the movie, when he's at the wedding and he's talking to Christine. I'm like looking at his face. I'm like, man, he is fucking perfect. This Doctor Strange.
Yes, he is.
The way he just standing there, I'm like, he is absolutely looks amazing as Doctor Strange. Like, and then he goes right to work, bro.
Fun fact: did you know that until this movie, his beard's never been real?
No, I did not know that.
Yep, he was doing an interview with Elizabeth Olsen. They were doing like some kind of game. Which, by the way, the game that they played is fucking hilarious. They are hilarious together. But they were saying who has the best facial hair in the MCU. And he was like, well, of course I'm going to say me. And she's like, well, Robert Downey Jr. That's a fucking beard. And he was saying, and she was like, that's not even really you. And he said, no, actually this time it is me. He said this part, this isn't him, but this is him. This is his, but the sides here are not him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, for the first time I actually grew it out. And I was just like, that wasn't you. I'm like, technology now, not technology, but prosthetics or whatever are just really fucking advanced. It
Yeah.
looks like he grew that shit out. Like it
So
doesn't even look like
him,
you know.
him saying that now upsets me more that they would not let this fucker just shave his mustache. Fucking assholes.
Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah, you dickheads. How
you know,
hard is it?
you know what I found so funny about that? I'm like, when I look at Henry Cavill and I watch that Mission Impossible movie, I'm like, that mustache shouldn't make or break that character.
No,
Like, if
it's
he didn't
not.
have a mustache, I wouldn't have looked at it like, oh, I don't like this. There's no mustache. Like,
Right.
he didn't twirl it, so I'm like, what the fuck was the need for the
Yeah,
mustache?
it's
Like,
there.
it's just there. It's
A
no different than if,
mustache.
to me, it's no different than if Tom Cruise said, you know what, I want to grow a mustache. I wouldn't be like, whoa, what? You can't be Ethan Hawke. Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Like,
Absolutely.
no big deal.
I'm like, it's much easier getting you a fake mustache over fucking CGIing over one.
Yes, that as we saw was way more difficult. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought because
No,
I know how visuals like that do interest you, so I thought you would like that little tidbit.
I'm all about the visual. I love costumes and aesthetics. I'm very big into like how, and I have to pay attention to details like that because to me it makes or break a character. You know, that's why like when I get to who we'll get to later on, I'm like all in the world of these aesthetics meant the world to me. You know what I mean?
Because fucking it up could have really
It's
fucked
easy,
up a lot.
and you can easily fuck it up, and in the past they have. That's why to me they made up for a couple of them in this movie. You know what I mean?
And let me just say this before Joel goes any further. In case Joel does, let me just give the guise of spoiler alert. But to be fair to you guys, this movie came out Wednesday. For a lot, it came out Tuesday. I gave you guys the entire weekend. So I don't want to hear any shits about, oh my God, you're doing it already. I gave you the entire weekend. The entire weekend. And our actual review isn't until Wednesday. So I don't want to hear any shit. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, I mean, you could do this without spoilers, but that takes the fun out of it.
But also, Joel, it's not like the movie came out Thursday and we're doing this Thursday night.
Right. Yeah, so, it's not same day spoiler alert.
And remember, it won't even be out until later on Tuesday. So if you haven't seen it between Thursday and Tuesday, that's not on me. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I've given them ample time. And I did that for a reason.
Warned them. And like we're saying right now, we're going to get into spoilers if you don't want to hear anymore.
And this is how we're going to end the episode. So if you haven't heard it, then
perfect. You know, you're good. Say, we'll talk to you next week. Right. But right now, we're talking a little Doctor Strange before we end it. Right. Yeah. So where was it? All right. So like it goes right into the battle with Gargantus, which was just the part. The wedding.
No, you skipped a part.
Before the wedding?
Yeah.
I skipped it on purpose because I didn't.
Got you. Okay, got you. I'm like, you definitely skipped some shit.
Yeah. They're running the Defender Strange and her running through the, what was it called? I forget that name or wherever they were at, but they were looking for the Book of Ashanti.
Yes, they're looking for the Book of Ashanti. Yep, I can't remember where they were.
Whatever the name of that area is that's protecting it. They're going through there, and then they run into some weird creature that went after them and like trying to kill her. Basically wants to take her power. The whole thing is so they can take her power so they can get to different dimensions. She has the ability to travel to the different dimensions with her. She's apparently the only one in the multiverse that can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a common trait. Even the Scarlet Witch, the most powerful being in the universe, apparently
can't do it.
Can't do it.
Right.
You know,
I will say this. There was one part of this movie that I was really sad. And that was when she asked Doctor Strange, like, hey, what do you guys know about the multiverse? And it's like, we know a little bit about it. We just experienced it with Spider-Man. And when she said, what's a Spider-Man? My heart broke. Because I was really hoping in her universe, not her universe, but in her universal travel, she saw like maybe a Miles. She saw maybe a different Peter Parker, maybe a Spider-Gwen. Like, I was hoping the name Spider-Man wouldn't be like, what the fuck is that? Like, she's come across different right. So I was really heartbroken. I was just like, oh man. But to be fair, Feige did just tell us at the end of Spider-Man, there's no multiverse of Spider-Man out there. I closed that shit off.
Yeah, you
It
want
doesn't
Spider-Verse?
exist.
There's a whole animated universe to go through.
Right. He's like, hey, if you want a Spider-Man, we got one. You just won't hear about others. We got
Yeah,
one. We got one here.
we
You're
settled
about to
that.
get Miles too.
We closed that loop. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I threw that shit in the garbage. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But it did break my heart a little bit, even though it was a hilarious scene. I was just like, damn, I was really hoping maybe she came across a Miles.
And for people that are confused, they said Spider-Man. They didn't say Peter. People forgot who Peter is. They didn't forget who Spider-Man was.
Right. Because everyone kept saying, oh, there's a hole in the logic there. It's not. He said Spider-Man. He did not say Peter.
He doesn't know who Spider-Man is. No one does.
Right.
And that's the point.
And I think a lot of people left that movie thinking, oh, no one knows who Spider-Man is. No one ever said that. No one knows who Peter is.
Right. Peter Parker has to restart his life. But Spider-Man, everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, everyone fucking loves Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man. But Peter, don't nobody know. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, exactly. So they're literally at some type of fucking diner. So, can I take a picture? He's like, no. And he's like answering everybody. That was a good scene. And then you had them talking with America, and then with Wong, who's the current Sorcerer Supreme, and they go to the dead body. When she takes him to the dead body, like this, he tried to kill me. Like she didn't trust him after that. You know, she was very hesitant the whole movie because of like this motherfucker said he's gonna protect me, and he's like, no, I gotta kill you because either you're dead or the universe is fucked. Right?
That's what led me to believe. And remember, I said this before, and now I feel vindicated. There was another way to defeat Thanos. He definitely looked at it and said, well, that's the easiest way, is just for Stark to die. But there is definitely a harder and different way. Because you see Defender Strange do the same thing. And then you see the real Doctor Strange give you an alternate version of saving the day outside of having to kill her to take her power. So I'm like, there has to be other ways. There had to have been another way. I guarantee you the other way to defeat Thanos was for Strange to die. And that motherfucker said, I got movies to make. You've been in here 10 plus years.
But even in that movie, they went through that again. Remember, he sat there with the other doctor.
Right. Yep.
He's like, "Was there another way?" He's like, "I gave you the best way."
And the best way was for all of us to live, and just you to die.
Tony had to die, bro.
Tony had to be sitting there like, this sounds really. Does Cap die too? No. Does Thor die? No. Who else dies but me? You. Only
Gamora,
you.
But there's a
right, yeah, Gamora. And he's like, what's a Gamora?
Natasha dies too.
Natasha too, but he's like, yeah, we all saw that coming. But just me? Yeah, just you.
It's bullshit. It took sacrifice. 2 Avengers to kill Thanos. Basically. But the funny thing is when he says like, yeah, perfect surgeon and perfect superhero. Right. Like, he always makes the right decision. Rolling his eyes and shit. Very funny. The interactions. It wasn't an entertaining movie in that regard. There was a lot of nice back and forth with a lot of characters. Then you had, oh my god, after they got out of the diner, they went up, they saw the dead body, which will play a factor later, which I loved at that part later when we get to the point where they're like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that. I love that. Because really, honestly, after I watched this movie, I'm like, well, we knew a lot going into this movie. Probably more than I really should have. Too much. Because like, I'm like, man, I probably should have stayed away from some of these things. Because we knew a lot of the spoilers going in, sadly. But I didn't know how it all connected. So like it's the connections that I was that really surprised me, especially the ending, because I didn't know how he was gonna work. I thought he was a bad guy and ended up being a vessel. It's weird. Anyway. All right, so what happened after that?
I can tell you exactly. I remember this movie scene by scene. Right after that, well, what happened to end that scene was Doctor Strange and Wong realized the connection is the runes that were on the 2 beasts that came after America Chavez. Right. And then she asked, it was either America Chavez or Wong said, well, do we know anybody that knows like witchcraft? Right. And he's just like, I do. Yeah, he's like,
oh, let me go ask. Right.
Like I do know somebody.
Let me go ask Wanda. And then he goes to ask Wanda.
And she told on
herself. All
nice
and pretty and like, oh, Wanda, and they're like they're old friends basically.
Right.
Off, like,
but she told on herself. That was the biggest thing.
Sure did. I love that too. She kind of gave it away.
At that point, I
Watched
think
it.
she just really just stopped caring. At that point, she was just
Yeah.
like, I could fucking
Well,
kill you if I wanted
well, that's the
to.
thing. She
Like,
kind of got cocky, like, oh, I know you never told me her name.
yeah. But I love how she asked that. She's like, you never told me her name, did you? And he's just
Yeah,
like,
she caught herself.
nope.
That's my fault.
Doctor
That's my
Strange
fault.
had a Batman moment where he just was like, no, I just let you tell on yourself. I didn't even have to say anything. I didn't push you. I didn't have to fight you. I legit just brought up the concept and you just, because you're cocky,
You
told on
gave it
yourself.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I was gonna give you lunch boxes. This is
Right.
sad.
That's just like when a parent comes home and said, who? And then the kid goes, I didn't eat your apple pie. I didn't even say anything about an apple pie. I was going to say, who left the milk out of the refrigerator? You're just like, fuck.
Absolutely. So she gave away what's going, and then she reverts everything, and it's all like fucking distorted and fucking red, and like the dark hold is completely corrupted. Not just her, but like everything in the surrounding area. Apparently,
Right. Yeah.
House is all fucked up. We're like, oh shit, she is dark right now, and yeah, she's completely at this point selfish, and just I want what I want, and I will kill you to get it. And she's like, I was being nice, basically, and she really was. Like she's holding back, like I'm just being reasonable at this point. And she's like, basically, look, give me the girl, and no one has to die.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't just give you the girl; she will die. And
Wanda's just like, it's her or you.
Yeah, right.
And he's just like, well, I don't want to die.
Steven is not the most cocky person. Nah.
No.
I dare you, witch woman.
I dare you. I double dog dare you, motherfucker.
So that's what happens. They're already at Carmitage, and they prepare for war basically with the Scarlet Witch.
Oh, don't forget her warning. She said you have until like sundown to just give me Chavez.
She did give them time to.
Right.
Look, think it over. Because I'm coming.
That's why he immediately went back there to say like, "Hey, Wong, I can't." Because remember, what was the last thing Wong said? Don't mess it up. Like when you go. Remember when she showed up? When she shows up, and he's like, "Don't make it worse." And Strange goes up there and says, "No, fuck you, Wanda." And she's like, "Oh, everyone's gonna die." And like Strange comes back down the wall, and he's just like, "No, I tried everything I could." And it's like, nah, and Doctor Strange is just like, yeah, he's like, I fucked that up. I'm like, whew, okay.
It was funny part when they do go back to Carmitage, because there's this whole thing from the beginning where he won't bow to Wong,
right?
And everybody, but he's supposed to bow to the Sorcerer Supreme. He's like, look, it's just tradition. And then the people from like London and wherever come over, China,
which was a good callback, because remember the Ancient One said that the two there's three
sanctums.
Yes, and it's China, London, I guess, and then obviously New York.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which is awesome. That's a good point. That's a good callback to the first movie. There are three sanctums, so they come as reinforcements, and they bow, and he looks at tradition. Like, he rolls his eyes.
Bro, I bet you Strange is like, that's bullshit. I never saw Wong bow to Strange. Now, could he have done it off camera? Sure.
He's like, nobody fucking bowed to me when I was
one, not one person bowed. I didn't even know that was a thing.
No one told me that's what they were supposed to do, so I didn't ask for it.
Yeah, like, come on, man. I would have loved a curtsy.
It's like the opposite of Wakanda. Like, we don't do that here. Like, we do that here.
No. We only do that here. No, I also like the callback to the comics. That's actually Wong's love interest in the comics. What's her name? That dived on a grenade for him. Yeah, she's not. Yes. She's a white in the comics, I think.
I don't know what the fuck. I didn't know that character was a thing.
Yeah, he had a love interest in the comics.
They gave her a name in the movie, at least, Sarah.
They did. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't remember them calling her Sarah, but
I don't either.
She's named in like the pop, because there's a pop for her. You know,
that's awesome. She deserved the pop.
Yeah, she got a pop. So that's cool. She did sacrifice herself for him, which was
that's
sad.
why she deserved the pop.
Yeah,
she deserved the pop for that.
She's like, don't do that. No.
Wong was just like, no, just let me down. And she's like, no,
I'll be
I'm gonna
back.
die for you. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm
You're the
gonna die
first
for you.
of
Don't
who
worry.
you were more important. I will do it. Like, no, bitch,
Right.
what are you crazy? Like,
Wong's like, I don't end up saving the day anyway. Don't do this.
yeah. Wong, I swear to God, almost died at least 3 times this movie.
At least 3 times. They were
Like,
looking
whoa.
for any reason to just go, hey, Steven, you're Sorcerer Supreme
Right.
again. It's like, what
Yeah.
happened? Wong died. How? 3 different times, actually. It's like, what?
Would not die.
Every time Wanda kept going, no. Hold on. I know I killed you 20 minutes ago. What happened?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I just fell on some rocks. I'm still alive. And she's like, wow, am I getting bad at this? Like, what's happening to me? So I'm with you. He was definitely a cockroach in this movie. It's just like, Wong, get out of the way.
Some of the crazy ass magic they use in this movie, like her going through reflections because she put her in the mirror, like dimension it looked like, and that shit was crazy. Like her, look, Sam Raimi was all over this fucking movie. You could feel it from the beginning, especially towards the middle and end, where it was just like, holy shit, I didn't really think they
just
would
her coming out of the mirror like that is Sam Raimi. Yeah.
I love that. I'm like, wow, they let him play. They really did. They let him do his thing, and I appreciate.
He definitely came to Kevin Feige and said, "Hey, Kevin, quick question. You ever see Evil Dead?" And he's like, "Yeah, I saw Evil Dead." He's like, "Did you see Evil Dead 2?" It's like, "Yeah, I did. I really love that movie." He's like, "Okay, don't freak out. That's exactly what I'm going to do with Doctor Strange 2." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Somewhere Scott Derrickson is sitting down and he's just like, I was told I couldn't fucking do a horror movie. What the fuck is this?
I sat there and I'm like, what was it that Scott didn't want to do?
Remember, he definitely wanted to do Nightmare. So it wouldn't have been Wanda heavy. It would have been Nightmare. So I think Scott Derrickson just didn't want to tie in WandaVision to Doctor Strange 2. Even though it's weird because remember he was on stage when it was announced that was the name of the movie, but I'm assuming that he was hoping in early negotiations of drafting the movie he could just make it his own thing. It didn't have to live within WandaVision. And then that's when I think Feige said, "Oh, we don't do that here."
This movie was very heavily dependent on watching WandaVision, Infinity War, Endgame, at least. And obviously the original Doctor Strange to get an idea of what's going on.
Even then, the original Doctor Strange was only sprinkled in. Like if you miss that, you only miss just the origin, the origin of the character,
right, exactly, origin of the character and Wong and them and Christine.
This movie
also helped.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said it will also help if you watch that episode of What If.
Oh, big time. But I compare Multiverse of Madness to BVS, to where BVS was supposed to be a direct Superman sequel that turned into a universe movie, right? That's what this was. Because it's like, if you didn't see Man of Steel, all you missed was just who Clark is outside of, being part of something bigger going forward. But outside of that, narratively, you didn't really miss much because it tells a whole new narrative.
Only difference with BVS, there was nothing else but Man of Steel to living
right, exactly.
For reference.
Right.
Whereas in this, you literally have WandaVision, Infinity War, and it all took place before this movie. So I
just meant more so it's not a direct sequel. It's a universe sequel, but not a direct sequel to Doctor Strange. No, if you miss Doctor Strange, you could still, if you miss Doctor Strange but saw everything else that you mentioned, this movie makes sense to you, for sure. Yes. It's just,
if you go from Doctor the in and outs of Doctor Strange 2, you will not know what the fuck is going on.
No, not at all. You need all the other ancillary pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely less of a sequel, a solo sequel, and more of a universal, like you said, MCU sequel, which heavily focused on Doctor Strange and Wanda specifically. But anyway, she gets through there. She wrecks house. They get away. Those store portals are fucking cool. They just suck you in and shit. And then they end up in that, I forget the name of the Earth, 833.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like fucking flowers on
Utopia. It's a utopia.
It was really like a utopian area, planet where red is green and green is red. It's weird. And there's pizza balls with Bruce Campbell.
But you know what I liked about that? I like the symmetry of that, because they were essentially saying in that world, red is good, green is bad.
Yeah.
And think about that narratively. Wanda is red, Strange equates for the green, right? So
Right, right.
narratively, it's telling you it's switching it on its
And
head.
it's inverted, yeah.
Right, right. So I love the double meaning. And again, Michael Waldron didn't say that was supposed to be a double meaning. That's just how I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's cool. Red is good. Interesting. Okay.
Red beans go in this world. Like, oh, what
Yeah,
the
because
fuck?
look, a lot of people left this movie and was like, I don't see anything wrong with what Wanda did. I'm just like,
What?
I don't think you narratively understood the whole premise of this movie.
Yeah.
That she
You're
was
not
wrong.
thinking that she was right. You're
Yeah. She like for
fucked up.
to me, I feel the same. Because when everyone always goes, "Oh, Cap was right," Cap regretted that shit every day. Like Cap regretted how he handled that. He said it at the end of the movie, like, "I'm sorry, Stark." Like, you know what I'm saying? He was very regrettable. Now, who wasn't regrettable was Stark. Stark was willing to die on that fucking hill. He killed my parents. Fuck him. He's got to go.
Right.
So Stark
So
never went back on
personal.
that. Yeah, but for Steve, he regretted that all. He regretted that the whole time, especially because he never really got to have that moment with Stark. Because you always assume like, okay, you save the day, then you get to have that moment. Stark died, and then Cap was just like, I'm retiring. This took a toll. Yeah. So I'm like, a lot happened there, but yeah. So to go back to your point, so they land into Utopia. We get the pizza bites, which look delicious.
They do look good.
We get it by.
I want to try to make those one day.
That would be good, but Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa, Bruce
Pizza
Campbell.
Papa, Bruce Campbell.
I had people look at me like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, you know who the fuck that is?
I'm like, come on, man. There's no way you have a Sam Raimi movie and there's no Bruce Campbell. That's rare. It's a rarity. It's like Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler back in the day. Right, like, exactly, you see one, you see the other. But yeah, so we so after that little fiasco, we see America Chavez and Doctor Strange come across these, which, by the way, this is really weird. If you're gonna tell me that stepping on something showcases my life's mistakes or my biggest regrets, it shouldn't be something that someone could just walk by and go, oh my God, you had sex with her? Oh, like, no, you shouldn't be able to see what I can see. It should project into your mind. Yeah, like no. Yeah. And then what was so funny was like America stood there and they're just watching it. And I'm like, you maybe want to get off of that? Like, you know what happened. Like, I know you're doing it for the audience, but it's like, that's so weird that people can watch this just walking down the street, just like,
that was just a sample.
Yeah,
like you want more, you gotta buy the rest.
Yeah, you gotta buy the rest. You want to see how disgusting this person is?
This is awkward.
But they changed it from the comics. How America Chavez's mothers disappear. They die in the comic books. They straight up die. But in this, they're leaving it open-ended to where they just disappear. They could be alive somewhere.
Yeah, they're in some universe, maybe, possibly.
Right. So I was fine with that because now I'm kind of just like, well, that opens the door if you ever want to do an American Chavez series for Disney Plus. That could be her goal that she's looking for. Her
something to reach towards.
Right. Now we'll get to this later. I didn't like the narrative for her in the end of the movie. I thought that was really.
I just think that was weird. They needed to put her somewhere for now. I don't think it's something.
No. Her staying there was fine. Her learning magic was what my issue was. Like, you have powers. What the fuck do you need the use of magic? When are you going to utilize that? Like, she's sitting there with the sling ring learning. I'm just like,
yeah. It's just something, she's there. Might as well learn something. I'm home. I mean, hey, if I was staying over there, if I can learn magic, I'm going to learn magic. You know
yes, but you're talking about someone as yourself that has no powers. So if you could learn magic, yeah, of course you would do it. Yeah, that would be my ability.
Here and there, but like if I can learn how to fucking do whatever the fuck they do.
I'm just saying, if you did that, I better fucking see that shit pop up somewhere. Where she just goes, oh,
well,
shit.
we have to see how far she gets. Obviously, she's not good at it.
Well, fuck, Ned learned that shit in a day. Ned was just like,
Ned was definitely a McGuffin, but also apparently they snuck it in there. Like, we have magic in our family, do we?
Like, oh, okay. Yeah, he literally just showed up. He was just like, hey, I opened up a portal. Strange was like, bullshit. He's like, no.
I'm a long lost relative of Wong. I'm like,
right, yeah, I'm related to Wong. Wong's just like, bullshit. And he's like, well, watch this. He's like, oh, shit. Okay. But yeah, so they land in a utopia world. They come across a statue of Doctor Strange, the most comic accurate looking Doctor Strange ever.
I wouldn't say the most comic accurate, but the collar is definitely the most accurate we've
I
seen.
believe that Doctor Strange had yellow gloves. That's why I say the most accurate ever.
He didn't have
Doctor
any
Strange.
facial hair, which is not Doctor Strange.
That is also not Doctor Strange. I will not argue that. That is very weird to see a beardless Doctor Strange. Like that should never happen in any
very
universe.
Awkward.
But now it makes sense that he died. Oh, wait. Speaking of which, that was a loophole in the narrative.
What?
The Doctor Strange of that universe had a beard, but the statue didn't.
Did he though?
They showed that they killed that Doctor Strange.
I saw, but I didn't see a beard.
Yeah, he had a beard.
I don't remember him having a beard.
Yeah, let me see, because I could be tripping. I've been wrong a lot in life, so I could be tripping here. But go ahead, continue the story while I look it up.
Yeah, because in the statue you don't see the beard. Oh my god. So yeah, he had that was the oh my god, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, and the narrative is that he died fighting Thanos and blah blah blah. We find out later that was all really Marvel. There was more to it.
Gosh.
Yeah, that was just a nice way of saying.
Oh no, you're right. I'm looking at it right now. No beard. Oh God. Ugh. Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, the costume's pretty cool. It's like silver, blue. It's weird.
Fucking looks gross. They
have the pop for him too.
Ugh, no, thank you.
I think it's called Supreme Strange or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, very interesting aesthetic for that version of Strange, which we didn't see a lot of. Aside from the statue, we saw that one spot when the flashback later. Anyway, we find out that his who takes over is Mordo. So Mordo becomes the Sorcerer Supreme.
He gets his accurate name, his full name.
Baron Mordo? Or,
no. His middle name.
What was his middle name?
I fucking forgot it. But they actually do give him his full ass name that he uses in the, because we do know him just as Baron Mordo. But they do utilize in some Doctor Strange comics his full ass name, like his actual full government name. So that was just really cool. And he introduced himself. Yeah, he introduced himself as that. And it was like,
did he use his full name? It was
did.
Baron Carl Amadeus Mordo.
Oh no, the Amadeus was not there, but the Carl Mordo was there.
Carl Mordo. All right.
Mordo. Yeah. So they have he sees Mordo, thinks like, hey, last time I saw you, you tried to kill me, which is another loophole, because now it's like, well, where the fuck is Doctor Strange's universe is Mordo? Like, what is he doing right now? Like,
well, it's not a loophole. It's just that they're not looking at him right now. He's not the focus. He's in that universe, living his life.
I would have liked it.
I wouldn't call that a loophole.
Well, it's a direct sequel where you're bringing Mordo back. It's just not the one that we know. But you ended it
right now. Mordo. You're not in that universe, so it's out of sight, out of mind. Is one of those things.
I guess as long as he's in the third one, I guess.
That's really all that matters. Well, if we're gonna stay in the same universe, I hope so. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get the Dark Dimension back. So yeah, you never know.
We are. So he sees them and assumes that he's the same way there as he is in his universe. Right. He hugs them, brings them in for some tea.
They were close,
and he date rape drugs them.
Yeah, he moved to both of them. Sorry, John.
With the sands of Vishanti, I think. The sands. I know it's the sands. I might be messing up the name. But those are actual sands.
Because they ask
in
him
the comics.
The book for Vishanti.
Yeah, it's the book of Vishanti, so it's the sands of something.
Some shit, yeah.
But that's an actual thing in the comics. So sands.
Knocked them both out, right. And then eventually they wake up. Well, he wakes up because she's already awake when he wakes up in a lab funded by the Baxter Foundation. I was correct. I popped hard for that. I was like,
I did too. I was just like, oh, nut.
Juan, from this moment on, all I had were nerd sweat. It was just like that whole next half hour. I was just like nerd sweat. It was like he sees this girl. It turns out to be Christine of that universe, and he's like, oh shit. He's now love struck because he's like, the one that got away basically is what she is. Yep. And even on this earth, she was the one that got away. Then you just can't seem to find one where he's with her permanently. Right. He's so. She's
like, hey, are you with your Doctor Strange? Nope. It's like, why? Is he an asshole? Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a thing with me, huh? Just an asshole everywhere. Damn
It's
it.
like the one of my universe is getting married, and I'm really fucked there.
It's like, whoa, are you married? No. Do you want to be? No. Shit.
Yeah, right. Can I take you with me? Is that wrong?
It's like, all right, I can't ask that. All right, sorry.
This is getting weird. But anyway, so they're there. They're analyzing them and keeping them quarantined because they don't know if they brought multiversal viruses with them.
Yes,
Gotta
yeah, they want to
caution.
see if they had any diseases. Could
Yeah,
you picture if they're like, oh, COVID? What is that? We don't have that here. Oh my
You were walking
God.
out
What?
there? Yeah, so funny. See, this is where things got where things I did not know. Because I originally thought the Illuminati was a multiversal group from different
Yes.
universes, and that's not the case.
Right,
It's
just
just
like the comics.
right in this case, yeah, it's just like the comic, but in that universe.
Hmm.
So it's their version. That's their version of Super Team because apparently there's no Avengers there.
Right.
So they have their Illuminati, as Mordo calls them. Because they were talking, he was talking about because he starts name dropping a whole bunch of different teams like Avengers, Shield, other whatever the fuck else he mentioned.
He's like,
Um,
nope, 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 Illuminati. He's
we
like,
need to stop this because Wanda's dangerous. I need to get out of here. Blah 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 blah. He's the whole spiel that no one believes. Like no one's taking him seriously.
yeah,
At
they're
this
like,
point.
hey, we just had to kill your version in our world. We're not going to take you seriously.
Right. So he basically is judged by the council, which is the Illuminati. He's brought to them. But while that's happening, though, I know it left and it went back to I think Wanda, right?
Yeah,
Because now
it
she has
went
the
back
dark
to yeah, so it went back to at a complete Sam Raimi montage of Wanda's seance.
right.
Of her summoning the Darkhold, and then she goes into that specific universe as Wanda.
Right. She's
That has her
dreamwalking.
kids, right? She's dreamwalking, and she takes over that Wanda, which I
Mhm.
thought was
Well,
really. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'll say that is another thing that I did not know they were doing because we had an idea that she couldn't travel to different Earths,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't know how that was going to work. And then they came up with dreamwalking, where she could possess,
Right.
which is the whole possession scene, which is fucking creepy. Like her possessing herself in that world is like fucking crazy. What you were gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, that was very Sam Raimi of them.
Oh hell yeah!
That whole montage was like, that's Sam Raimi. That's Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
Nobody.
Sam Raimi,
Yeah, no one has a love for all things demonic like Sam Raimi. That man he understands the dark world.
Yeah.
So from then they bring Strange into before the Illuminati. He begins to announce the members.
Absolutely. My
Um
favorite part because I'm like, again, nerd sweats at this point because I knew it was coming. It's just a matter of like, all right, so I'm prepared mentally. What's gonna happen? Let's go. So Carl's the one that introduces everyone. He introduces himself. Doctor Strange already knows him.
Mm-hmm.
The first person he introduced after that was
Captain Carter.
Carter, correct. And we all know Captain Carter from What If?
What If?
That's the one we know of.
Then Maria.
Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel. Again, this version looks like this version is like whatever happened to Carol actually happened to Maria in this world. And they took the same color scheme as the Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau from the comics.
Right, from the
white color scheme. So,
yep.
Awesome callback to that. Then we get to fucking Black Garth Boltagon, to be more exact. Black Bolt, where he's sitting there in his full fucking costume.
But what was the full title? The leader of the Terrigen Mist. Remember that? They said they mentioned the Terrigen Mist, and I was just like, oh yeah.
They didn't say Inhumans?
Huh?
They never mentioned Inhumans, right?
So, no. So they didn't mention that that's what happened to give him his powers, but they said the name Terrigen Mist when they were announcing him.
Okay.
Like Keeper of the Terrigen Mist or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think that sounds familiar. I'm gonna go see it again Saturday, but I'll keep an ear out for that.
Yeah.
I forgot exactly what they said.
Part of me wants to no, we can't.
What?
Shit. Part of me wants to go again Wednesday before we do the breakdown.
The game for the show.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's fucking crazy. I'm going Saturday. I'm gonna go 3 times.
So then after Black, and he is comic accurate to a
Juan,
motherfucking T.
I wanted to cry. I was like,
wanted to. I cried.
and like it's Anson Mount, and it's the actor Anson. It's the same Black Bolt from the show that we fucking suffered through.
Yeah,
and
he was the only good thing out of it.
And in IMAX, I watched that motherfucker. The first 2 episodes, So I'm like, I felt like I got paid back years later in this one scene where like it's the same guy.
I feel like Kevin in a multiverse said, "I know Joel had to sit through that bullshit. I got you, Joel. I got you."
Dude, when I saw that, I'm like, bro, that's so it gets even better later until obviously when shit happens. But before that, I'm like, bro, because I'm like, the only thing missing is like the wings. Wait till later though. We'll get to that. Anyway, they introduced Black Bolt, and you see the fucking thing, his fork glow, and he's like, he's not talking, he's giving them signs. I was like, oh my god, they got chills. I was like, this is so cool. And then we go from there to where?
Reed mother,
the smartest man in the world,
Richards.
Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski.
The Portal. Like, I'm gonna tell you this. In sequence, I nutted for the Portal because I'm like, that's the most Reed Richards thing I've ever seen, ever in live action.
I love how he portaled in.
Yes, and then the suit, my body was just like, we just nut. I don't have more to give you, Juwan. And I'm like, work it up. We got so much to get out of this body right now. And they were just like, all right, well, what are we doing it for now? The suit. And then I was like, fuck, his beard, everything about his essence is Reed Richards. Yes, give it to me.
The way Reed Richards looks right now.
Because we believed that they drew him that way because the future was he was going to be Reed Richards.
Hopefully play it. And that's still to be determined, but like, come on, bro. You can't cast him.
We know. We already know.
That's such a cock tease,
Here's how we know. When John Krasinski said 2 things in interviews recently. He said, A, I always regretted not being part of the MCU. I get it. I know Captain America was never going to be my lane. That went to Chris. No problem. But he always wanted to be part of it in some shape or form. Then when he was asked about Reed Richards, he was like, fuck yeah, I would do it. If they called me, of course I would do it. Hell yeah, that's a great character. Yeah, you're signed. The name's on the paper. If Mahershala can take Feige to dinner and say, hey, I'm Blade. Not I want to play, not can I play. I'm Blade. And Feige goes, yeah, sure. There's no way John Krasinski didn't make a phone call and go, hey, I'm Reed Richards. And he was just like, I never thought of that. What if we drew you in the comics? He's just like, well, you did it with Samuel Jackson. Why not? Yeah, put me in there. So I fully believe when people say, oh, it's not yet determined who Reed Richards is. Yeah. Is it not yet determined because Feige hasn't said it? Sure. But it's not like they don't already have it. So in a month or 2 from now, when they go, John Krasinski is Reed Richards, no one should go, oh, what? It should be, yeah, duh. That makes all the sense in the world.
For me, it'll be more like, it'll be like relief. Like, oh,
yes, it would be shock. Like, oh, what? I never knew he was even in the running.
Yeah, no. Oh, but still, regardless, he looked amazing. It was like,
that, oh my God. That wasn't even the biggest nut.
No.
After Reed,
it wasn't Juwan. It wasn't the biggest.
Right after Reed, you get the symphony of the X-Men theme song. And out comes the most accurate Charles Xavier we've ever seen in live action, Joel. Yep. He even does and it's like,
the fucking saw the waves come out. You're like,
I was like, oh my God. Oh, the guy next to me was just like, get off of me. And I'm like, oh, I can't. I need all this room.
I made a mess. I had people looking at me like, I'm tearing. It's crazy.
I had to put my popcorn down. I said, this is too much. I can't have anything in my hands. I need to grip something. Oh man, that was beautiful.
Yeah, just ask April how about my reaction for that whole scene. I was just like, this movie was worth it for just the Illuminati scene. That was it. Oh fuck, just the intros was like killing me. I was like, oh, this is such nerdgasm.
Now I want to bring up something a lot of people aren't talking about because a lot of people just saw it once, so it's kind of hard to zone in. But there were more seats than there were members. So there was a seat left open. So remember, Mordo was sitting. Everyone was sitting. there was an extra empty seat next to Mordo's seat. There was another member.
Okay,
I would like to believe.
I was so distracted.
I would like to believe, because Michael Waldron did say today there was no cut where they had an Iron Man, or Tom Cruise's Iron Man nonetheless. But I would like to believe that seat was for one or two reasons. Either A, Black Panther, but clearly you weren't going to introduce a new Black Panther in that movie when his movie's coming out. Or B, it was an Iron Man, but you also, since you couldn't get Tom Cruise, there was just no need to put any Iron Man in there. And I respect that, because we specifically said, no way you bring Robert Downey Jr. back just to be an asshole version of himself. No way. No way. Right. There's no need. No need whatsoever. Secret Wars should be when we get Iron Man, and it should be the accurate Iron Man that we get. Not a different version, not an asshole or an evil version. Right. The actual Iron Man. So I respect that. But there was an additional seat. So it does make me go, well, you were trying to give us the most accurate version of this team. And I get it. Submariner couldn't happen because you're going to introduce him in Black Panther.
Yeah, but, that's the thing.
Man, would that have looked beautiful. So I do believe now we will get a Nick Fury moment, but with Doctor Strange, where whatever happens from the events of the end of the next time we see Strange, I think he will form the Illuminati. Because remember,
idea is like this wasn't a bad idea.
No, this wasn't. But the only reason why I could see that being a possibility is you can't do it now. All the pieces aren't on the board. You don't have a Reed. You don't have an Xavier. You don't have a Submariner. So I'm like, you got to put the pieces on the board first, and then he can go assemble them. Like, shit, we may need. Now, what makes the Illuminati so interesting in the comics is that they were built around the time of the Infinity Saga. Because each member had an Infinity Stone. They were the guardians of said Infinity Stones. Right. So I'm like, well, now it's going to be really interesting to see why you assemble today. I get why you didn't assemble before, because you couldn't. But now, what is the reason to bring these group of individuals together? And for anyone out there who isn't familiar with the Illuminati, they were a team put together of essentially the faces of each big faction of Marvel, or each big territory of Marvel. And essentially what their job is exactly like the movie said. We make the decisions, other people can't. So if we go, hey, we need to level all of New York to save the entire world, they would be like, we made that decision. So in the comic books, the biggest decision they made was Hulk can't be on Earth anymore. Sorry, you are way too dangerous. You cannot exist here anymore. And they shipped his ass off into the middle of space. They had an actual planet they were sending him to, but his ass went crazy and broke out of it. So those are I just want to give an example of like what they were doing in the comics for people that don't know. Right. But go ahead, Joel. So right after that, we get everybody introduced. That's when Xavier says, we should tell him the truth. We should tell him the truth about his version.
What happened here? Yeah, what he read was not accurate.
Not at all.
By the Darkhold. I don't remember what happened exactly. I just remember. So
he was corrupted by the Darkhold, and essentially what Wanda did is what he did to stop Thanos, to help stop Thanos. Right. They were saying it corrupted him, and he then told the team, "You have to kill me. That's the only way." Right. And then that's when Charles said, I'm gonna miss you, my good friend. And we see Black Bolt let out a whisper.
Sorry,
yeah. That kills them. Which, by the way, they don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to explain it because it didn't bother me that much. But it did bother me that he did that, and everyone behind him was just like, "Nah, I'm cool." Like, no, it's supposed to be it ripples.
Sound works this way.
Oh, yeah, wow. I'm like it ripples.
He shot like forward. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, it doesn't bother me that much, but I definitely did look at that like.
But the only reason it doesn't bother me is because it's within the wave. Like if the wave went like surrounded him, that should have affected everyone. But because you could see it go forward,
you're absolutely right.
It was contained.
You're absolutely right. But that's the thing in the comics about Black Bolt is that the way sound travels is that you can utilize it this way, but there's nothing that stops the destruction of whatever is around it because the sound just travels. So I got over it. It's not a big deal, but I did look at it and go, they're really close. Like it's supposed to shatter eardrums, and they're like right behind him. But I'm like,
right next to him. Like, hey.
yeah, I'm like,
But it
that's
was
not how
kind of
sound works.
he kind of used it like Black Canary, like, but way
Yes,
more
yes, where
powerful.
he could
But
direct it instead of it amplifying. I get you. That's
right.
why I say it didn't bother me, but I did look at it twice. Like, this is not how sound works.
But
But
I'm
okay,
like, that's fucking cool to see him use it again.
yes,
Fucking disintegrated him.
it did. But that's how his powers work. That's
Yeah.
exactly how his powers are supposed to work. Not just flipping cars. Fucking assholes. Anyway,
He
so
does
yeah,
it in the
so
show.
no, he does do it in the show, but the first time we see it is when he did it when he landed in the middle of the city and he was flipping fucking cop cars, and it's like,
No.
destroy a motherfucker. What is this? So right after that, Strange learns the truth, tells him that, hey, Wanda is like on her way. We should probably figure some shit
You gotta
out.
stop worrying about me.
Yeah, she's gonna kill us, and that's when Mordo said, no. The true danger of the multiverse isn't Wanda. It's you. And then Strange is just like, if only you knew how badly Wanda's gonna kill all of you.
Yeah,
she gonna
cocky sons of bitches. And Maria's very confident. She's like, I'll take care of her. She ain't gonna be that.
And it's just like, ooh, you are not as strong as your counterpart. Like, I gotta feel like Danvers would have put up a better fight than this. Mordo is the only member. We're skipping ahead a little bit, but Mordo is the only member that survives.
Yes, because everyone leaves except Mordo and Xavier first.
Right.
To go take care of Wanda because Wanda's broken in.
Yep. So Wanda breaks in barefoot. So apparently she watched Moon Knight and said, if Arthur can walk on glass, let me see about that. Let me see if I can
stopping crazy bitch Wanda at that point.
Nothing was. Wanda was just like, Wanda was like, somebody finna die. So obviously she sees America Chavez, makes her way towards her. In comes the Illuminati, dropping in front of Wanda, which, by the way, me and Joel just said, all right, we had the nerdgasm, seeing them. My body then said, did I just see wings on Black Bolt? Oh! And then I'm like, okay, you can't get any better than that. I then see Reed Richards stretch himself down, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't control it. Oh my God. And then Wanda just goes pure fuck you, and I gave you a warning, but fuck you too. So the first victim of Wanda's is Black Bolt. We're skipping. Something big happened. John Krasinski, Reed Richards is trying to talk Wanda down. And she's like, do you have any kids? And he's like, I actually do. And my soul left my body. I said, oh my God, Franklin exists. Oh my God.
Another OP character.
Yes. You know how I love my OP characters, Joel. So I loved it mainly because I was just like, oh my God, if they do Reed Richards in our universe and he already has kids, that makes what's her name? Fuck. What was the person that Wanda was fighting? Agatha Harkness. That makes her show more interesting. Because that's how Agatha Harkness made her debut in the comics. Is Franklin's babysitter. She was a babysitter for the Richards, right? So I was just like, oh shit, that would be really cool if we get to see that play out. So then he does mention that he does have his wife, Sue, is alive. We don't get any mention of Ben or Johnny, but we do know that Sue and the kids are very much alive. And then that is when Reed lays down the warning of, Wanda, please stop. If you don't, Black Bolt can destroy you with just a word. And Wanda goes, a word? That's really weird with no mouth. And then Black Bolt goes, no.
Yeah. And then I guess he tests it out.
He's like, nah, this is fake. And it's like,
there's no way this is happening.
And what I love Kevin Feige leaving in, because everyone always shits on, oh my God, they don't allow any violence. Not only do you see his head split open, but there's blood in his eyes. Yeah. There's blood streaming out of his eyes. So it's dead. There's no question. He's dead. And then Reed's just like, go elastic arm. And she's just like, all right, pop. She expands him out. and then
He's
just
all like
pops his head
strained
like a
out. Like,
balloon.
oh shit.
You know, I imagine Reed had to be thinking in that moment, I didn't know my body could do this. And then pop, his brain explodes. So that's 2 Illuminati members down. Then you see Captain Carter going after Wanda. That's a really good fight between the two of them.
Pack.
With a rocket pack. I believe she got that from the remember What If ends with her finding that suit of Steve's.
The armor, yeah.
I think she might have gotten the jetpack from that. Because it looks the same as when you get the figure, that pack looks exactly the same. So anyway, she drops the famous Captain America line by saying, I could do this all day. Right before Wanda goes, oh my God, Captain Carter, have you ever played Frisbee? And she's like, no, I've never played Frisbee. How do you play it? Let me show you. She's like, throw me your shield and I guarantee it'll come right back to you. And she said, all right, cool, here. And then Wanda said, all right, slice in half. And if you do, obviously you can't do it because it's in a theater. But if you could sequence it in a freeze frame, it showcases her body whole. And then when the camera pans away quickly, you see the body kind of like Darth Maul. Yeah, you see it Darth Maul itself. So they gave Sam some freedom. So the last member up is Maria Rambeau. Sorry, it's Captain Marvel. She is giving it to Wanda. I mean, giving it to Wanda the same way Danvers did to Thanos. But ultimately, like Danvers and Thanos, the bad guy won. And saying, like, Thanos at that moment said, wait a minute, I am fucking stronger than you. Hold on. Like, that's what Wanda said to Maria. Like, time out. I am stronger than you. Here. And we see the statue fall on top of Maria, essentially killing her. And then we get Wanda makes her way into the lab where America Chavez is trying her best to punch herself out. And we see Charles Xavier show up. And then he engages into a mental battle with Wanda that scared the fucking shit out of me.
Trying to wake her up, like, yo,
right.
bitch, let that little hole you're in. Come
here.
here.
Like, hey, come here, let me get you out. Yeah, and then the red mist comes, and it's just like, oh, Charles, you should probably get out of there. Charles, hey, Charles, get out. Oh, damn, we've now seen you die in 3 different universes. Goddamn, Charles. Like, you really got to figure out a way to stop dying, bro. But anyway, we see the most brutal kill we've ever seen in MCU history. Maybe Loki's is up there. Loki's fake death. Anyway, we see Wanda snap his neck, and you see the neck snap and then just dangle. And I'm like, oh my God, you cannot take kids to see this fucking movie. Jesus. But look, it's the way a Doctor Strange movie should be. And again, this is why I say to everyone that's like, you can't do Blade without a rated R. I fucking beg to differ. This movie was not rated R and was violent as shit. So then of course you get America Chavez star punches her way out of the way they use the star is very interesting all throughout this movie. But she star punches her way out of the glass. They meet up with Doctor Strange. They make their way into Christine, right? That's her name? Yeah. She leads them to where the Book of Ashanti can be accessed.
Because apparently he created a waypoint before he died to get easy access just in case.
If they need it, they can get to it. So he finds out that it needs a totem, and the totem is the watch. His watch fits right there, and then he can open it. Now, what I appreciate is, because I said this when everyone kept saying for the trailer for Spider-Man, I don't understand why he still has the Eye of Agamotto. There's no stone. The Eye of Agamotto is the power. They just used it as a cup holder. But the actual Eye of Agamotto is powerful as shit. So I like that it's back. He has it heightened. It's not a necklace to be ripped down. And he can open shit with it. So he's just like, open shit. So they enter that realm where the Book of Ashanti is. Wanda catches up to them in the most creepiest walk run I've ever seen in my life. And then they had the horror trope. I was just like, damn it, Sam Raimi, of course you put the horror trope in. If I'm gonna stand here and wait. It's just like, get out of there. And they're like, no, I want to wait.
They closed everything, they got away, and they're like, let's just watch.
Yeah, let's just
why would you test
this
bitch?
Yeah, I'm like, she just killed like four or five of the most strongest beings ever. Right. And you're just like, I am curious, can a door holder?
Did it work?
It's just
Did stop running?
Like, picture Wanda. You're like, I just defeated a guy who could scream and obliterate an Earth, like a planet. And you think a door is what's stopping my mission. Okay, bye, door. So obviously they get through. Wanda's fighting them off. She gets a hold of America Chavez. And she's able to take America Chavez. Doctor Strange and Christine get Star Portal into a different universe. So America Chavez and Wanda head to Vundagore, is how I pronounce it. Mountain. Vundagore Mountain, which is the actual birthplace of Wanda in the comics. In some comics, because in some, obviously, she is born to Magneto. Yes. But in other comics, Vundagore is her home. So I appreciated that. I also love the statue of Wanda that's just like, is this where I die? And she's like, oh, no, you're celebrating me.
Yeah.
I get it.
Temple of the Scarlet Witch.
I understand.
It's at the top of Wundagore Mountain.
Yes.
So instead of her being born there, it's
right.
Where she's worshipped.
It's where she'll be worshipped. Because Chthon always had a plan of the Scarlet Witch returning home. And you get the name drop of Chthon by Wong, which I nutted pretty hard. I always love a mention of Chthon because I love Chthon. So that was a nice little deep cut right there. And then we go to Strange and Christine that land in this very distorted universe that looks horrible. Yeah. Where we get Evil Strange, but is that what they call him? Evil Strange?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember what they call him. So you get one of the dopest fight scenes with both Stranges using Third Eye Strange, even though our Strange becomes Third Eye Strange
later. Yes.
But you see the Stranges fighting with musical notes.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was really cool.
What a trip, bro.
That was really awesome by Sam Raimi. That was a dope add-in. You see them fighting with musical notes. Really awesome fight scene between the two of them. Strange ultimately knocks the evil Strange out of a window, and he lands on a spiked fence.
Yes.
Which again, brutal.
In front of Christine.
Yeah. She was just like, oh, and then the eye opens. She's just like, oh. She's like, you scared me twice. So then obviously Doctor Strange says to Christine, the only way to get to Wanda is I have to, what did you call it again? What was that sleepwalk shit that they do? What's that called again?
Dreamwalk.
That's not a comic thing, guys. So that's why I'm still trying to remember the name of it. So they dreamwalked, and she's just like, that's how we had to kill the old Strange. And he's just like, I'll be different. And she's like, okay, but you need a vessel. And he's like, I got just the thing. And then
she's like, you need to have a Strange in that universe. You're right here. How are you supposed to? She's like, who said it had to be who said I don't have
right, yeah. He's like, who says it has to be alive? And it's like, it
has to be alive. Oh.
So we
everybody clicked. You're like, oh, she's gonna use the fucking dead body.
Yeah. Which, by the way, really dark line by Strange, where Wong's just like, you're gonna bury him here. He's like, I've buried people in worse, and it's like, you have? Like, what the fuck, Doctor Strange? That's dark. So obviously he resurrects Defender Strange, but now completely zombified. So he's zombified, and then Strange has to utilize the dead.
Sam Raimi is fuck that scene, like everything.
Yes.
Oh my
Sam
God.
Raimi. I'm telling you, Sam Raimi was nutting while he was directing that scene. I guarantee.
But the evil spirits, he's like, you have to stay here and protect me from the evil spirits. I'm like, what
She's like, huh? But it was a callback again, as Joel said. You should watch the first Doctor Strange because the weapon Christine uses is a callback to Caecilius saying, do you actually know how to use that, Doctor Strange? And he's just like, no. So he just throws it at him because he's like, I don't know what any of this shit is.
He didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, he didn't know how to use it. Meanwhile, Christine's just like, my Doctor Strange taught me everything about this. Fire, bitch.
I spent many a night in this.
Right, I did. So obviously Doctor Strange utilizes the dead, and he builds himself a cloak.
Yeah,
with the dead
souls,
dead souls. Yep. So Defender Dead Strange, aka Doctor Strange, aka what the hell's going on here, makes its way to Vundagore, where we see Dead Strange, or Defender Strange, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is at that point. Fight Wanda.
Yep.
They
And
engage.
he doesn't have to worry about dying because he's dead.
Right, he's dead already. So he's just like, well,
And at
fuck.
that point, Wong has been knocked in and out of that fucking cave twice.
Yes, yes. Wong is just like, I can't stay upright. So we get the big fight between Wanda and Defender Strange. Ultimately, Wanda prevailing, and seeing Wanda kind of start to break down Defender Strange, and that's when America Chavez says, "I'll be strong."
Well, they trap Wanda first, and then Wong helps keep her down because he has the spirits holding her down.
Yes.
And that's when he goes to tell her, like, yo, we gotta. That's when he has the pep talk to her, like, you can do it, because
Right.
Wong's like, you gotta take her powers, and he's like, I don't want to take
right.
her powers.
And remember, she says the moment of, I understand, it's okay, you can do it. And then
Right.
that's when Steven was just like, I can't kill her. And this is the second time in the course of 4 months we've seen Steven bend to a child, where he's just like, oh fuck, you're just so adorable. All right,
He's such a softy.
Yeah, it's like, you're adorable. What do you need? I'll give it to you. What do you need? Just tell me. So we see Strange give America the confidence she needs, to where she opens up a portal where Wanda can now see the other Earth.
Gives Wanda what she wants, because the kids what it comes down to.
Right.
And what happens is the kids see her for what she is.
Right.
And she's like, and now she's like lost. And then the other Wanda's there, comes down, she consoles her. And that's the thing, she pushed it aside, and the kids are even more frightened. Like, this bitch is crazy. There's a witch in the house.
Which is funny because they're watching Snow White in the background, so that's hilarious. So essentially, the Wanda, not Scarlet Witch, the Wanda of that universe, kind of just tells her it's okay. Like, it's okay. I love these kids. I'm taking care of them. They're happy. And Wanda, that's all she ever wanted, was for her kids to be alive and happy. So she kind of realizes, like, this is my fault, and let me fix it. So she essentially destroys every Darkhold in every universe, and essentially, like, everyone, I had to tell somebody, they're like, yeah, I wonder how they're gonna bring Wanda back. I said, bring her back, she didn't die. And like, she did when she got tough. I said, you saw a flashing red light as everything collapsed. What makes you think she didn't escape from
it? They want you to think she's dead.
Right. But it's like, why would, like, people, sometimes, Joel, you know what bothers me? And this is why I say, I get it. People don't read comics. But when you don't read comics, you then believe things are realistic. You forget that it is a comic book, right? And then you start going, oh, man, Clint got stabbed. He's good. He's definitely going to die. No, because that's how you would die. He's a comic book character. They survive shit like that on a daily basis. Wanda's not dead. She's not. They didn't bring in mutants yet, and you think they're gonna kill the first mutant in the MCU? Come on, guys, just logically here. Logically. Goodness gracious. So when I saw the red flashing light, I took that as she just found a way to escape. After she brought it all down.
I took it as it was more like, wasn't that she did that consciously? You know what I mean?
That's fair. You know what? Even if you want to look at it the same way that X-Men 2 ended, where Jean sacrificed herself, and then the Phoenix was like, I'll take it from here. Right. Like, we're not dying here. So you could say she became Wanda in that moment, took down everything, and then the Scarlet Witch said, bitch, I got more shit to do. I'm fucking dying here. Let's get out of here. Or Cathan, whatever you want to say, but she didn't die there. That red light meant something. We'll find out what it meant later, but the red light meant something of significance. All right. So then, obviously, we see America Chavez and Wong kind of then are like, all right, everything's good here. Now, shit, now we got to go get Steven.
Steven, the Christine from that world.
Yeah, we got to star Uber Steven. We got to Uber star him here.
They're going to come pick me up now. Now that America knows how to, more or less, how to control her powers.
Somewhat control it, right. And I love the line he said to her, to where he said, hey, every time we've been in trouble, you found a way to take us somewhere safe. So you do know how to somewhat control it. Now you just have to harness it better. So I did appreciate the moment that they had together in that sense. So obviously they go back and get them. We go back to Carmitage. Is it Carmitage?
Yeah, Carmitage.
Carmitage. Okay, I thought so. Where America Chavez is now a student of Wong's, trying to learn how to utilize portals in magic. And Doctor Strange says, I take solace in knowing that you'll be safe here. And then she asked Doctor Strange the question that they've been asking him all throughout the movie: "Are you happy?" And Strange goes, "No, I'm not fucking happy. Are you crazy? I just watched a woman I love marry somebody. And on top of that, he's my biggest fan. You know how horrible that makes me feel?" Like, I'm not happy. And I will say this: shout out to Sam Raimi, because he utilizes that cloak in ways I could only dream of. That, like, a lot of people see it and they're just like, "Oh, they do that in the comics." No, never. He's never not wearing the cloak. So it's never a need for him to do this and it turns into something. He's always Doctor Strange. He's never just walking around as Steven. He's always Doctor Strange. So we never get to see it utilized like that. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Like
so yes, in the beginning, it was like a handkerchief, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like a handkerchief, and he goes, "Come here, baby." And then in this, it's more so of the scarf that he unravels. So we see Strange on his walk. He fixes his watch finally, so the watch is fixed. He doesn't wear it, but he does fix it, so it's no longer broken. And then we see him walking the street, and then all of a sudden he falls to his knees in pain, and then third eye
opens. Like, the third eye from the evil. And that's how it ends. What the fuck?
But I appreciate that, because remember, that was how the Ancient One unlocked what that world is. When she goes, "Use your third eye," and then he goes into that whole acid trip. Yeah. I took it more so as him accessing his the true power of the Eye of Agamotto, with utilizing that third eye, because now you can truly use the power of the Eye of Agamotto. That's how I took it. I don't know how it's meant to be taken. Again, that's not really a big comic thing. I think it did happen in the comics once, but it's not like a major plot line of the comics of him getting a third eye.
I don't remember the third eye, so that's new for me.
So then you get to one of the end credit scenes where Doctor Strange is again just walking the streets, and we get the most beautiful face to pop up into the MCU in Charlize Theron as Clea. And if you don't know who Clea is, which I can't wait to just school people on Wednesday, Clea is the niece of the one and the only Dormammu. So that's of very
the dark dimension.
Of the dark dimension. And what's interesting about Clea, and why I thought introducing Clea in this movie was very apropos, Doctor Strange falls in love with Clea and marries her.
That is very much a Doctor Strange love interest, yes.
Yes, it is. So it's very interesting that this movie was about letting go of one love to welcome in another. Finally. So I appreciate that. Now, we could talk about the final end credit scene that was just humorous. It was Pizza Papa finally snapping out of the trance that Strange said would take him weeks to get out of. So clearly weeks have passed. So that, and then he's just like, it's done, or it's over. And then that was the end of the movie.
Well, that's also a nod to Evil Dead, the evil hand.
Yes, the evil hand that kept beating his ass.
That's why I cut it off.
Now, I do want to bring up one quick thing before we end it here, Joel. What is mentioned in this movie 957 times is incursions. Yeah. And incursions is important because incursions leads us to the Secret Wars. Well. So, Joel, how much are you looking forward to the Secret Wars?
Well, it depends on what version of it they're doing. How are they going to implement it? Because the original Secret Wars was literally just taking the Avengers and the X-Men, throwing them in Battle World, and then having them fight.
But also, my favorite version of Secret Wars is when you got different alternate Earths that were colliding into one Earth. I'll never forget. I can't remember which run it was, but like Black Panther's just like, is anybody else? Hey, anybody else see that shit in the sky? And they're just like, yeah, no, we see it. And I'm sorry, Black Panther has a call in the Illuminati. Excuse me, that he turned down from joining.
That was the second, no, technically the third Secret Wars. But that's the one. That's when Dr. Doom was.
Dr. Doom. Yes.
He was Doom. God Doom or some shit.
Yes, he was God
He's
Doom.
all
Yeah.
white, right?
Yep. Namor was actually big in that. Was big in the run right before that comic line because that's when he leveled almost all of Wakanda. Which is why I think everything is lining up for Secret Wars. We're about to get Namor, where he could do what? Level half of Wakanda to lead him right into where they led into in that comic run. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming, and I know a lot of people kept hearing incursions like, "What is that? Is that disease? Is that their COVID? What's that?"
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like you said. It's when two worlds collide. So it's like we'll see.
It's essentially, and we're not comparing, but it's essentially their Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Sort of.
Yeah. It's their version of it.
Yeah, because it's the only time they ever actually use multiversal characters like that. It was not a thing
from Marvel.
No.
That's why I said when everyone's like, I would like to see this hang around. I said, bitch, once I get Secret Wars, multiverse needs to die and die hard. I don't ever want to come back here ever again, ever. Yeah, don't double back. It's fine now, and then just be done with that shit.
So yeah, so I am looking forward to the Secret Wars. It's just I just want to see the X-Men implemented first.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you there. Remember, Avengers 5 was one of those further away dates that we thought was one of those dates that they kind of like pushed. We're like, yeah, that could totally be Avengers 5. So by then, who knows? We could have had X-Men. I believe X-Men will be announced this year. Not the cast, but that the fact that they're going into that the movie's coming out. So that'll be really interesting. I did want to say this last thing before we wrap it up. One of my favorite Reed Richards costumes comes from Secret Wars. I am a big fan. I know we'll never get it, but I'm not a fan of the blue and black. I'm a fan of the black and white. I love the black and white suits. Yeah, I love those suits so much, Joel. And when I say I'm not a fan, I don't mean I think there's anything wrong with the blue and black. It's just visually I prefer the black because it's so drastically different, right? You look at it and you're like, that's not the Fantastic Four.
They don't even have a 4 on it. It's just like 4 cubes.
Yeah, I love it. I love those suits so goddamn much. But yeah, so we'll dive deeper into this because I want to talk about the fact that we get a mention of a Richards in Loki, and now that we know in a multiverse, Franklin is alive. So it then leads you to believe, will we see those two things meet? Not Franklin, but Reed in that version of Kang somewhere down the line. I do believe they might utilize Kang in the role that Dr. Doom was utilized in for Secret Wars. I think Kang might be the impasse of Secret Wars, like what Doom was, but they'll just replace Doom with Kang. I think that makes the most sense because I'm like, you brought Jonathan Majors in, you got to give him something bigger than Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania.
I'm saying,
I'm like, Secret Wars is like the biggest fucking thing you could give him, you know. And then if you don't want to use him that much going forward, you've at least given him his end game, like you gave Josh Brolin. So I'm like, I'm very much a fan of that for sure. I'm a fan of seeing how they utilize him for that. So we'll dive in. Yeah, that was the first thought I had, and I was like, I think Joel might like that. I think Joel might be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So yeah, so I can see that happening, but me and Joel are gonna wait to give our grades and everything on it till Wednesday. Save something for Wednesday when it comes to our opinions, so we're not just rehashing everything we said today.
If you didn't see how glowingly I talked about most of this movie.
So you should you could probably kind of see where Joel's leaning here. But we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys tune in to when this drops. We'll be going live tonight because it's now Tuesday. Tonight at 8 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 8:30, whatever. To do our GVN sports show to break down the NBA playoffs, some NFL news, some beefs in the NBA, what we think of fouls. There's so much to break down sports wise. So we'll dive into that. We'll also dive into the fact that the Mets are better than the Yankees, but that's a whole nother conversation. And then of course, Wednesday. Yeah, that's true. And then of course, Wednesday will be our Doctor Strange breakdown. And Thursday will be my interview with Ernie Altbacker. And then GVN Talk will be back this Friday. Saturday, we're bringing back Star Wars Saturday, and then Sunday's GVN Roundtable. So it'll be a full week to make up for taking last week off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got a lot of stuff for you guys. So stay tuned for all of that as we do get a step closer to all the good shit coming out.
Obi-Wan. I've
Yes, we
already
are a step
transferred
closer.
my wallpapers to Obi-Wan, so I'm set.
I've transferred my life to Star Wars now. That is all I can think about is Star Wars every day.
I go by month. Yeah.
I just let go of Batman yesterday when I said, okay, I gotta get.
I just like
balls
go
deep.
back Strange.
I'm like, I gotta go balls deep into Star Wars. Let's get this going. But all right, that's all me and Joel got for you guys. Till next time, peace.